Hello, everyone. Michael Damiani here. Welcome to my new talk show, which is called Solo Q. Yes, that is the official name of the
Good.
show. Yeah. This week, I'm joined by Tiffany Lockheart. How's it going, Tiffany?
Hello, hello. I hope you're doing well. I hope Chad is doing well. Welcome. Hello.
Yeah, and we're here to talk about. Are we excited about Dawntrail because the Japan Fan Fest just happened last weekend? We got a lot of big announcements from that, and we're going to dive into some of them. We're not going to go over everything because some of
Please bear with us.
the keynotes and the live letters, especially, you've seen me watch and react to them. I'm sure you've been through this too, Tiffany, where
Yes.
they are clearly meant for people who are like more than knee deep in Final Fantasy XIV. And if you're an outsider looking in, it could be a little dry at points. Yeah, but to us, we find it very intriguing and interesting. I mean, I'll be honest, some parts maybe not as much as others, but that's the thing. There's something for everybody when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah. There's some things I'm like super hype about, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Just
Sure.
a little
Uh,
slow build.
Before we even get into it, I want to do a little bit of like an intro here. Obviously, I just wanted to like get like kind of like a check in with you on Final Fantasy 14. I just want to know what you've been up to in 14 lately. Like, where are you at with it?
Okay, so I feel like I did catch up with almost everything at this point. I still gotta do Manderville, which is what I'm gonna do soon.
Okay.
I have to do the Endwalker Manderville. I know the 6.55 patch is coming in, so it's gonna be finishing. So I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna start it. See how this goes. But I've been doing a lot of maps. I've been doing front lines. I've been trying to get some relic weapons and doing. It's a nice little treat myself until the on trail, and I'm not trying to just rush everything. I think that's an issue that people do. They want to do everything so fast. Like, oh, there's nothing to do. Just relax.
Yes.
Take your time. The
Yes.
game's not going anywhere.
I definitely agree. There's no need to rush. Chat. I thought I heard an echo for a second, but that might have just been me. You did mention the magic word though, Tiffany. You said
Oh,
frontline, and I'm going to get out of the way
yes.
now because there are people like, oh God, he's going to talk about PvP. So I just gotta ask you real quick: are you enjoying what you played of PvP? Like, do you have any thoughts on what you've played? And do you feel it's like chaotic?
Okay, so when I first played like PvP in general, Crystal Conflict, I was just with some friends. We would all queue up at the same time and I'll get my ass beat. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know it was like a push a payload situation. I'm like, why are we always losing? Because I would chase people around the map. But then I realized how to play the game. I became a gunbreaker main as uh during like front lines and Crystal Conflict and a ninja main. Those are my two main classes, funny enough. Even though I'm a war main. I know. But I love it. I love the chaos. I love the tense battles. I love Seal Rock. I know people hate Seal Rock, but I like Seal Rock, alright? I just there's so much people don't like about front lines, but I just like going in. I just like to just
I
like chasing
could.
people around the map.
That's very good to hear. I love it when I hear people like PvP, but especially frontline or rival wings. Because Crystalline Conflicts, like the newer mode, the one that's
Mhm.
probably a little bit more popular. It's also like small group, so 5v5,
It's way
so it's
faster too.
easier to get it to pop versus frontline, which is requires 72
70.
people. And if it wasn't part of that duty roulette, I don't think it would be very active because people do it for their dailies to get that
Mhm.
experience. It's a great way to like I could sing its praises beyond just like enjoying PvP, but you can do it to level alts very easily, especially like your
Mhm.
DPS class. You can bypass some of like the longer queues, especially like at expansion
I do
launch.
that. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest. I've been using it to like level up Black Mage, but then I'll swap to like Warrior right afterwards because you don't need to play that class to do front lines. You could just queue up as Black Mage and then just swap to Ninja.
yes.
So I'm like, ooh, this is the easiest EXP possible. I love it.
They have a lot of nice like kind of quality of life stuff like that, which makes it, very enticing to play, and it's less like personal responsibility than probably like crystalline conflict. So if you're just looking for something where you just like want to like mess around and low stakes, and like best advice I can say, like everyone dies in this mode. You're gonna die. Like don't get too
You will
like
die.
upset. Like it's cool. Just like go around, mess around, and you'll like pick up on stuff. But
Hmm.
yeah, that I'm glad to hear that. I stream personally on my personal channel. I stream a lot of like 14 PvP. and like love it. Love
Mhm.
to do more with it someday, but this is not a PvP podcast for today.
Maybe one day,
One
but
day, I gotta get. I don't know if you know them, Brian Ricardo. I gotta get them on here for an episode to do like a PvP deep dive. But before we get into Dawntrail, I did ask you like where you were. I want to know how you're feeling about Final Fantasy XIV right now as we head into this what's known as the content lull period with
Mhm.
the patch 6.55. You know, the part two hitting next week, and we have a few updates after that. But this is generally the several months leading up to the expansion where it's known as
It's
like
gonna
dead game, blah blah
mhm.
blah. So I mean, yeah, how you feeling? I mean, even in regards to that, like how you feeling with like the game and the direction it's going in, and are you generally excited about going into Dawn Trail where the game is at?
So I feel like I have a different perspective since I'm a new player. I've been around since I want to say September 2022. That's when I started picking it up. Started ARR around that time. I finished Endwalker last year around Mayish, and ever since then I've just been doing like a slow catch up on other content. But even when it comes to like the drought, I always find myself to have something to look forward to. Like I know throughout the next few months, I want to save up a lot of gil. I like to do maps a lot. I like to give back to Sprouts. I like to like meet new people. One thing for MMO, there's a lot of people who are not social, and I noticed that recently.
Yeah.
But I like to save up money. I like to give out money all the time. I have like at least 120 mil ready to go for like in
Oh,
general. I've been killing with maps. I just got an Emmett minion yesterday, selling that for like 20 mil. It's a fun little progress, but I like to give back to the community, and that's something that keeps me like interested in the game and helping out people on their first time. And um I find that special because people you don't realize how much it means to like other people to have someone to like go around in the content with you and experiencing, their first time reaction. And I live for that. I know people are like, oh, there's something to do. I'm like, there's always something to do. I like just even the social aspect of the game, and I think I'm gonna keep that up. If there's new housing, by the way, we're gonna talk about the whole
okay. I
this
had a
thing later.
Yeah, I figured yeah, housing would come up, but that's a good point. Like
Housing will
the
come up.
social aspect of it, and is 14. A lot of the content has they've been doing a lot of work to make the content solo friendly with
Mhm.
like the duty support system, with the your trust allowing you to run dungeons without having to run with other people, possibly expanding that. And like if you're over leveled, you could just like do an unsync run of content by yourself. So that there has been some discussion about whether or not the social aspect of 14 has kind of like eroded a little bit over time. And I think that kind of ties into something we'll get into a little bit later, the field operations content, the large scale
Mhm.
communal content that has kind of been lacking a little bit as of late, and people kind of clamoring for that. Maybe not because it's like the content itself, like we can talk all day about like Bozy or Eureka and how good they really were. But I think at the end of the day, it was that people were either having fun or suffering together through all that
Yeah.
content as a large group. And it was just a very social thing. And that's why a lot of people I think are drawn to MMOs, besides, the content is the people.
Exactly. I do agree. Like I said, I didn't realize how big of an impact it had until recently, but I did enjoy like Island Sanctuary a lot. I had a blast with it. I know people it's one thing I will say before um content is not made for everyone, and I know people are going to dislike it. Like there's people who don't like field operations
Mhm.
at all. So that's one thing I feel like when it comes to like MMOs, you're always going to get like a jab in the end, like the devs, cuz like I said, this game is made for everybody, but you're not gonna like every single content, and that's completely fine if you don't like it.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. And I wish that point was echoed more by streamers, content creators, and just general people and just people in general in the game.
Mhm.
I mean, that is the kind of like the real secret sauce to, any kind of like live service game, like an MMO or whatever, is that there's content for everybody, something for everybody, but it's not, I mean, if you want to, just dive into everything you can, but it's not necessary. It's the casting the widest net as possible to bring in as many
Mhm.
fish, basically. And as long as there's something there that you can deep dive into, you're good. And it's not just MMOs. Like a lot of the best open world games do that. Like
Mhm.
the last year, Tears of the Kingdom. Like there's so much to do in a game like that. And I didn't do everything in that game because you're not meant to do everything in that game. They're just putting in all these different activities because like some people might actually like doing dungeons, but you can skip them all and just go do other stuff. Or I like collecting Korok seeds if you're really into that. Whatever you want to do, that's it. And that's the gamble with those types of games. They're expensive. They take a lot of resources. But at the end of the day, they're just trying to bring in a large enough player base to sustain that type of game. And as a live service
Mhm.
game, you need to keep those people. And that's why you see certain types of content being featured as we're about to dive into the new info. There's something pretty much for everyone. But as
Exactly.
you said, don't feel like pressure, FOMO, whatever, to have to jump into everything. And a lot of that stuff is going to be there forever. Like you don't have to
Exactly.
do it right away, as you were saying earlier, too.
I have a friend. If they're watching the stream, I'm sorry, I'm gonna call them out. I have a friend who doesn't even like do any content. They just like fishing. They just love fishing. That's it. They don't do like savage contents. They don't do extremes. They just fish. They're like, oh, it's this certain time of the day in this weather. I gotta go, and that's all they love to do, and that's fine. Enjoy your fishing. I can't be a hater. I don't fish, but they love it. So I'm like, all right, you
Yeah.
know what? Okay.
Yeah. That's completely understandable. And you don't even have to like finish anything. Like I did ocean fishing when it was new. I've never touched it since. And I'm like good with that. It's like it was nice to try it out, play it for a little bit, but you don't have to do that. You can bounce around to other stuff, which is very
Hmm.
nice. But speaking of other stuff, I think it's like it's time to get into like the big news. We had the JP Fan Fest and we had some big announcements. And as you can see on the screen here, chat, the bottom thumbnail image, we had our
Ooh.
second new job, the last of the two new jobs revealed, and that's where I want to start. I want to start with the reveal of Pictomancer. Tiffany, I got to know, like, what are your thoughts on Pictomancer? And were you happy about this job reveal?
Number one, you think Alphino's mad? Because this man's the artist. He's the
Yeah,
shadow.
especially after Shadowbringers and that emotional
Mhm.
payoff of like him drawing the artwork for I forget
I
the
know.
mayor and the his wife and like
The
bye
ties.
I have to leave the first but here you
Mhm.
go here's this thing to remember. Um, that is true. I mean, but like Alphino's been able to participate with the Scions on these adventures.
Mhm.
Kryle has not been able to be
Yeah.
too hands on and to see their
Mm.
expression and just how joyful, like it was
I'm in the
adorable.
main story,
They
baby.
were
I'm
just
not.
like like I just love that reveal in the CG trailer. I was like, yeah, this is nice. Like now we just got
Mhm.
to get Tataru in here somehow. We got to make a job for her.
They're gonna just stick with fashion for now, I feel, and I'm
Yeah.
cool with that because if you saw like the level 100 drip, I'm like,
Yeah, and we're getting their last part of their quest line in 6.55 on Tuesday, I believe.
mhm.
Yeah, so
Tutorials, yeah.
yeah, we're gonna get to see that payoff. But yeah, yeah. So like job wise, like what I don't even know where you like stand on like jobs and like I mean, you did mention earlier before we began about like you do kind of prefer Viper a little bit more than
Yeah.
this, but yeah, like why? Like what draws
I
you to
just
one of these
think
jobs more than the other?
I just think Viper's cool. But I like Pictomancer. If you guys didn't know, I played Final Fantasy VI for the first time like 3 years ago. So
Okay.
Pictomancer is pretty fresh to me. So I was like, oh, let's go! It's the job from six. It's Realms, Realms job.
Hmm.
So I was just like, oh, this is pretty cool. I like the little tie-in. I was pretty excited about that. But yes, I am a Viper person because I just think it looks really sick. And also, I'm a little biased to the poster boy, and I was just like, I kind of like sticking with his class, just testing them out. Like I did Paladin during the patch notes. I still before 6.0, sue me. But I like to do the main class of the expansion. Like I did
Okay.
Shadowbringers with Dark Knight. I try to do Monk with Stormblood. So I kind of like to match the protagonist.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're not like the only one who does that, but that's like a nice theming, but also, speaks to how anyone can play this game the way they want. Sadly, kind of stick to like healer for my first playthrough just because that's generally what I do Savage raid in. So I
Mhm.
want to get like my healers. So it's interesting. That's what informs me. But honestly, if you're looking for like maybe a little bit more immersion, obviously it's a like a role playing game. You can
Yeah,
it's whatever you want, but if you're trying to like make it like fit like a mainline single player Final Fantasy game, and you were like, I'm not the character, the Warrior Light's the main character, you could I feel like doing that might even be something that you could try and do. Like you can literally make your character look like the Warrior of Light if you want
I met
to.
too many of them.
I bet you have, haven't you?
I have seen too many. I mean, obviously, I always think my character's the main character, like everyone else thinks their character's the main character. But I like the little connection to the poster character and just feeling like, yeah, this is our class now. Like we're picking up this mantle. So I like to try Viper, and I just think, like I said, I want to see more of it in gameplay. I'm really excited about that.
So I'm not sure. I apologize. I'm not sure how much experience you have with any of the more difficult content like extreme, savage, or like what's like the level
Oh
you
my
really tackle.
god.
Because the question is about Pictomancer. When they Yoshi P talked a little bit about like the job, how it's gonna fit more into like a support, and it doesn't have the ability to raise.
Mm,
So do you
it
like?
doesn't.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you have any like concerns or thoughts about how it's gonna like fit into the game in terms of like are people going to be very receptive to it like right away, or do you see any
It's gonna
like
be
red flags or
fine.
concerns? And like for example, real quick, like I think it's a beautiful looking job with its effects, but some of those painting things are huge. And I think of like the summons for Summoner, where you can turn them small. Like they had to add that
Well,
later. So like, are they going to block my view when I'm fighting and like I can't see a mechanic or something?
when it comes to like other party members, it actually just makes all the effects limited
There you
most of
go.
the time. So when I was doing like P9S, no one else's like effects were coming in because limit cut is the worst thing. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Oh my god. Not the point. I like to dabble in savage content, yeah. I remember doing Eden 12 recently savage.
Oh, nice.
No, it's terrible. I can't wait for the new uh what they call it now? It was Futures are Unwritten, right?
Oh, Futures Unwritten Ultimate. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's conceptually that looks pretty cool. Surprised they
I'm so
skipped
excited.
over because they had been going in an order. They'd been doing
Mhm.
Raid, MSQ for each expansion. So MSQ was supposed to be next for Stormblood. So everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Xenos and Shinryu, we're gonna get like this like awesome like Stormblood Ultimate," and then they went to Eden Raid, and it's like, oh, I kind of like that subverting expectations, because there are some in the 14 community, especially some content creators and streamers, who felt that Square Enix may be playing it a little bit too safe lately, especially with the announcements, and we're looking for something just to get excited about. And I
Mhm.
think it's good for some people who've been playing for a long time. Obviously, some of these people like get a little touchy when you mention burnout. They're like, no, it's not burnout, but it's like whatever the reason is that they've been playing so long and they're getting a little tired, they were looking for something new. And even something as small as this, where it's like, oh, we had a predictable order. Nope, not anymore. Now you don't know what we're going to do after this. Like the
You
ultimate
know
after
what's
this, what
funny?
is it going to be?
I remember talking to people about this. I'm like, they're gonna skip Xenos. They're gonna skip Stormblood. I felt it like after the Omega Protocol. I didn't think they were gonna touch up on it because it's not a good connection, not in a bad way, but like the Four Lords, you had the trials, they don't really all connect too well to make a ultimate, I felt. So I'm glad they're holding off on it.
I think I know what they're going to save it for. I have a theory about what they're going to
Endwalker.
save it
It's
for.
gonna be Endwalker. It's
Yeah,
gonna be a
everyone.
Xenos. It's gonna
It makes more sense to save it for like an Endwalker
mhm,
MSQ with like Xeno Shinryu and
mhm.
Singer, and just do something spectacular with that.
Even better, all the times you're supposed to fight Xenos is gonna be a Xenos ultimate. I'm telling you, he's gonna get powers from Zodiac. He's gonna get powers from Highland eating the Mother Crystal. He's gonna just be his own like league.
I wonder if there's like they could do it like a what if, where the secret mechanic is you have to like become his friend. Like you have to
Oh, I
become
want to be his
like you do
friend.
like a best buds bond moment, and that gives you the buff you need to get past the mechanic. That would be so
Oh,
awesome.
please.
It's like Xenos is our bud now. Let's go.
I like Xenos. A lot of people don't. I think he's a fun character. Yeah, he's not the best character, but I think he's fun. I give him like the benefit of the doubt. I don't know. I enjoy him. People don't want him to come back ever again, but I'm gonna be petty and say I want him back.
All right.
Wash up on the islands of Dawntrail, just his body on the beach, like just chilling there.
Yeah. I mean, everyone has a favorite character. I mean, that's the
Mine
great
is
part of this.
Arbor.
So
My
okay.
yeah.
I feel like Ardbert is yours, and then
Yes.
Thancred is in there as well, I believe,
Yes.
right? And then
Yes.
just
Yes.
like just like who else?
Um, do you want a tier list? Who I
Just your
like?
third. What third? I just want a third. Just one more.
All right. On a genuine note, if I had to pick, I feel like lately I've been enjoying Elidibus a lot ever
Okay.
since the Pandemonium raids. I oh my god, there's a chance for like something. If anyone has seen the Pandemonium raids ending, maybe a little comeback in the future. I don't know. The Ethereal Sea, a little reborn going on. We'll see.
We'll have to
We'll
see.
see. Hmm I don't think
Now,
they're all done yet. I don't
oh
think so.
man, they're leaving the door. They will always leave the door open for stuff to come back. Like I absolutely
Hmm
don't think the door closes on anything. The fact that we haven't gotten to it yet. I mean, I guess we just like skip to it now. I was gonna ask about something else, but like I'm gonna ask you your thoughts on female Hrothgar, but Hrothgar. So I actually have always been pronouncing it wrong. I always thought it was like Rogadin. It's like Rugadin. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
like for
is
that,
it?
like that, and then like Rothgar. Like I always say the names wrong, so I'm bad. But the point
Melanie.
is, they finally showed off the female version of that race, and then they said, oh, maybe if you guys want it enough, this won't actually be the last new race added to the game. It's like, oh my, this is like it's they will like if there's enough demand, I think they will just
Maybe 9.0
yeah, not
around
probably
that
next
time.
expansion, but maybe down the line. But anyway, how did you feel about that reveal? I mean, we kind of like knew it was obviously was
Yeah.
coming.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I wasn't a fan of them in the CG like
Okay,
trailer. I thought their face was so weird. But
okay,
it's not like I'm gonna bash on them. I was just like, this looks off. Like just their face were so like scrunched. But when I saw it in game, I enjoyed them a lot more. Their I like their running animation. I like their different like style choices. So I was like, okay, I'm cool with this. But when I saw the CG, I was a little wary. I was like, okay.
I'm
I'm sorry,
I'm
Rebel.
a little with you. I actually think sometimes they do a very amazing job with the CG. It's very detailed. But there's just sometimes with some of the characters how they appear versus what I'm so used to in game. There's a little
Yeah.
bit of a disconnect there. And I just got like it's been so long. I'm like, it's just the CG version. In game it's gonna look like
Mhm.
this. You know how it's gonna look, it looks fine. And so when I saw them in game as well, I'm like, okay, that's more what I
It
was
gets better.
expecting. It is interesting to see people like saying they're like the true cat girls now, like and they're like arguing over. Well, now cat girls don't look so much like cats versus this. So wait, are you gonna go back and read like, especially compared to like their FF11 counterparts, which are definitely
Mhm.
more exaggerated. They're less like human and more like anamorphic, and it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of, I think they're just doing their own thing.
Talking about 11, you played 11 growing up?
I played so I dabbled in 11 a little bit, but a few years ago, I think it was right before the pandemic, I
Mhm.
tried to start 11 and go through it, and I got pretty far, but I got into like I beat Shadow Lord. I got past that,
Okay,
but
so
yeah,
that's all right. That's what I was gonna ask because the art is up now during they showed it. I was like, okay, I'm getting intrigued. I didn't get a chance to like fully dive into 11, so I wanted to know how you feel about you know how he looks at least for the
yeah.
concept
So
art.
that's the thing. I don't have like strong opinions about 11 because I don't have that attachment because I didn't play it in its heyday. I don't have like that. Oh man, you had to be so social in that game and things were just different.
Mhm.
I'm sadly of the opinion for FF11 fans. This my opinion comes across as like sadly. I prefer all the 14 quality of life updates. Like from A Realm Reborn onward, I can't.
Mhm.
11 is too archaic for me. I understand its appeal, but having not done that in the first place, I've been exposed to something I view as better. And
More comfortable.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
very difficult for me to go back, which is funny because the question I asked Naoki Yoshida back in the day about can we get a classic server for 1.0, and he said like Nightmare, and
Nightmare.
he said the reason was we don't want you to play an inferior thing. We're always updating the game. Do you understand for a lot of people what it'd be like to go back to that? That's what it is. It's like going back to 11 from playing 14. It's like I wouldn't want to play that. Although I think 1.0 Classic has a different, thing
Mhm.
it could serve as. But yes, I don't have that. But one thing is the music, Tiffany. I love 11's music, and I can't wait to hear all those new versions, those updated
Revamps.
versions of that
Yeah.
music. And I'm hoping we get to see some of those environments because the one thing I do remember about 11 is just the sense of adventure crossing those giant environments. Like it was something I hadn't like really experienced before when I jumped into that game because I really didn't dive into any like open world games before like I played 11 when it came out on PC in North
Mhm.
America for like a few months, and then I bailed on it. So I remember
I'm
running
really
across the
excited.
zones. Yeah.
I'm super excited for the new raid. We talking about like well that was the alliance, but talking about that, the raid series got announced
Oh,
and
the
it looks
Savage.
really no,
Yeah.
the new raids, the 8-man.
Yeah. Oh, well, not. I mean, the story
Yeah.
and Savage,
Yeah.
the Arcadian, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The RTX.
The GPU tower. Um, I think obviously I think there's like definitely more to what's going on there,
It's
and it's
something.
just like an image, and it's like cool. Yeah, I guess we could like I'm Savage. I'm not. I like the stories are intriguing. I got to be like honest here. When it comes to storylines, the MSQ is like where I'm heavily invested in. I'm not a lore person, like very
Mhm.
heavy lore person in 14, but I enjoy the MSQ story. But when it comes to like side quest stuff, other than like Manderville, I'll definitely not skip anything. But like crafting and gathering quest, I skip all those cutscenes. Island Sanctuary, skipped all the cutscenes. I was like, I don't do that. Tataru stuff, I
Ah.
did watch the cutscenes for, but like I'm very selective about outside the MSQ about what I really watch the story. And if I feel bad about it on an alt, I'll go through and do it again. I'm like, okay, let me play through it with the story. So when
Mhm.
it comes to Savage, I did pay attention to the Savage story last time, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of neat." You know, we're getting like some background on like these people we only knew as Asians before when
Mhm.
they, back in their time when they were like before that. It's like this is kind of neat to see like where they come from, their origins, and Athena, obviously, like seeing the payoff with how crazy mad science can go when you when you think
They're just like a Hojo. they were insane.
hmm
I did not like them.
Yeah, a little creepy, just a little
Mhm.
creepy. But obviously, like I'm more in it for like the fights themselves and like
Mhm.
the mechanics and the challenge for that. Um, I am. They said it's gonna be original Final Fantasy 14 storyline again, I
Mhm.
believe. And so I know people are saying like, oh, it's gonna be like themed after this game possibly, and I'm like, I don't think so. If when they say original, it usually means that while there might be some hints of like Final Fantasy inspiration, it's generally like it's like 14, and I think it's gonna be tied to the MSQ a little bit,
Mhm.
like obviously like Alexander was in Coil were both like especially Coil's super
Oh,
relevant
yeah.
to MSK. I'm surprised they never made Coil like like a
No,
story version of Coil just for people to experience it because it's so damn important like and relevant. I'm like they, all this ARR rework stuff and they've never gone back and like just
but they did Crystal Tower.
yeah they did yeah like it's like oof these two things are so essential. I'm like even if it's whatever, like for another time. But anyway, um, it's more like I'll get in there, I'll do it. I mean, if it's ends up being themed after something, that's awesome. Like if it is Final Fantasy X related, I love Final Fantasy X. It's like my favorite 3D Final Fantasy, so I'm down for that. But I generally am just excited to see what they come up with fight wise with mechanics when it comes to
I do
Savage.
feel like a lot of people always try to say, it's always based off like a certain game, but every single expansion has been its own thing. It just has inspiration from other games. It takes elements from every like game. What do you expect? This 14 is a huge Easter egg. And that's why I tell people like if you played other Final Fantasy games, you're gonna be in for a treat. But you don't need to play other Final Fantasy games to understand what's like going on here. Because they make it into their own storyline. They just take the concepts and that's there's never been like a whole thing of like, oh, this is just well, actually the post and Walker stuff. It's a little bit,
Okay, yeah, it's
yeah,
Final Fantasy 4. They were like,
yeah,
let's do
with their own taste.
yeah, but even then, it's not like exactly the same. Like
Yeah.
I think they do a good job of playing with expectations, and that you think maybe it's gonna be like a little bit closer to one to one. It's like, nah, some things are a
Mhm.
little bit different here. It's like, oh, okay, this it's its own 14 version, which is kind of
Yeah.
like nice. And yeah, you put it like I someone, and they might even be in chat, I think is the first person told me like this, they described it as 14 to friends as it's the Final Fantasy theme park.
Yeah.
There's like a ride for everyone here, and there's clearly inspiration. But even like the Ivalice raid series, like it's not officially sequel or continuation to 12 or Tactics. It's just, even though we have like the person behind that stuff, it's like it's just 14's version of all of this. And even like with, I mean, even people with Nier, they're like, "Oh, is
But no,
Yoko
hold on.
Taro?" Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
Because everyone says every single version of Nier is canon. So I don't know how, because I do not touch like the lore about that. But everyone's like, it's canon in its own way, but apparently it's more connected to like Drakengard, whatever. So I was just like, oh, don't ask me anything. Mm-mm. But
Yeah,
apparently it's canon.
yeah. I mean, it could. I mean, it's Yoko Taro's call. I mean, absolutely. Just like when we have all these crossover events, when like these characters from other Final Fantasies come to our world or Dragon Quest, it's like they're
Mhm.
here for a little bit. It's like, is that really them? And they go back to like when Noctis came here and like he went back. When Lightning came here, was that really Lightning? When
When
Clive
the when
comes, is it
Clive
gonna be
comes here.
like that one? I'm like, that one may be a little bit more. I mean, I was gonna ask you about that a little bit later, but we have that 16
Hmm.
crossover coming in April. Do you think the world is ready to handle Clive and his chess coming to Eorzea?
I no.
Okay, good.
No, they are not ready because number one, I have seen all the thirsts. There's all right. I still remember when they announced it. I there's a Clive RPer in Seraph, right?
Okay.
And they do all their content like naked, like with their undergarments because they're like, I'm not wearing any clothes until the crossover happens. And they popped off the second the crossover got announced. They are like just waiting for the event to drop. Like they have like eye level like 600, but they just that's their gear. I was like, okay, sure. But I'm so happy for them. I'm
I
so happy.
I want to see. I hope like Yurianje is in there and uses his elegant speech to describe Clive. Like I
You
just want to
gotta get
hear.
mad. What's with all these what's all these primals and crystals? What's going on here? He will get so
Hmm. Ben Starr has the voice of Clive in the English version of Final Fantasy 16. I don't believe he started his 14
I
adventure
you
yet,
know what's
although he keeps
funny?
saying he's gonna start it.
No,
I think
alright.
we need to
I was just
like get him to.
talking to him.
Okay, yeah.
I I was just talking to him like a few days ago about it because if you guys didn't know, he's doing something with Jesse. Like he's creating his character, but me and him were talking for a little bit, and he is going to start.
Okay,
Like we've been talking about this since like oh my god, I want to say since August or July
yeah.
that he's gonna do his playthrough. But things have been really busy for him, and I am his unofficial Uber driver. That's my
Oh,
title.
okay,
I'm gonna drive him around, give him a little to like MSQ stuff, but he's going to start
okay.
maybe next month,
We are
maybe.
he's our unofficial EZA London correspondent.
He's a
Just
sweetheart.
yeah.
He is one of the sweetest guys out there. Please listen.
Yeah, I need to hit him up and be like, all right, like, let's, you have some people helping you out, but like, you gotta let me jump in too. Like, you need
Yeah,
4 or 8 people. Like, we will guide you through this adventure. And yeah, just to see what he comes up with. I gotta know what character he goes with and what job.
I know he wants to be a Lalafell. I know that for sure. He wants to be a Lalafell.
Can you
But I do
please?
know they're gonna test out a character creation thing. Someone posted in the chat that they're gonna do like a little test run, but he's gonna probably start like down the line soonish.
Okay. I
Really
just
excited.
I just need clips of him voicing that Lalafell. Like
He
Ben Starr
means
voice of a Lalafell.
he has less than 3 months because the collab is gonna be out in April. So he has to hit at the requirement should be like level 50, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because especially if it's like VO'd, it's like him playing with like alongside the character he
Mhm.
voiced. Always wondered that would be like what that's like. To play a game and like you're playing alongside it's like I voiced that character. It's me playing with it. I'm
It'll
just
be cool.
yeah, I'm just really excited. It'd be really cool if he like caught up to like jump in like with Dawntrail and actually be like caught up for Dawntrail, because
Doubt it.
yeah, probably not.
But he could probably hit level 50 to do the content because I don't think it's gonna be a level 15 requirement. It has to be level 50 at this point.
I
I
forget
think.
what the other ones have been, but I don't think it just depends. I forget if they said and what the previous ones were. Like the 13 one was a fate. Noctis's thing was an instance against Garuda where you used like the warp strike. The
Mhm.
Dragon Quest stuff was a fate as well. So I'm not sure what the if anyone's in chat, if you could look up what the 15 crossover event, the instance, what level you had to be to do that quest.
Someone mentioned 50 to me.
So if it is 50, then it'll probably be around that. I imagine they want as many people to play it, so they're probably not going to set it at level cap. You're almost
Yeah.
certainly right, Tiffany. Yeah. Uh,
That's what I gathered. I was like, okay.
yeah.
I'm
Um,
excited.
I'm very excited for that. Like because I saw someone tweet out the orchestrion role. Oh,
Mhm.
because there's the new soundtrack.
And 16 is on it.
Yeah, the 16 music's on the new 14 soundtrack coming out. So it's likely some of those are gonna be like orchestrion roles. So I'm like, oh yeah, like just gonna be playing that music in
Find a
the
flame.
house
Oh,
nonstop. Nonstop. It's just gonna be playing. I'm excited for that. And that Torgal mount. Let me ask you that.
I'm
I didn't ask you any questions about besides Clive and his chest. Is the extras coming. We got Torgal, we got Clive's outfit. Are you a little disappointed that no one else's outfit was announced? Like
yes.
Jill's out. Okay, you are.
For me, it was Sid.
Oh yes.
I'm a Sid enjoy it. And 14 loves Thunder God Sid and Sid in general and Ramu, like as you see from like all these trials and they should have added Sid a part of this. Like Sid meeting Sid would have been so funny.
Oh.
I, I think so.
They could have done the Spider-Man meme too.
Sid fighting Ramu would have been really cool too. Mm,
I Yeah, I was kind of like hoping it was going to be like them like earlier version of them. So like Clive, Jill, Sid coming through with
mhm.
Torgal, and you got to fight alongside them because it's like the three of them and Torgal, and that's
Yeah,
your 4-person party. I'm like, dude, sick. We're gonna like I'm fighting alongside, and like it kind of gives you the party system that people are kind of like, oh, where's the party system in 16? Like, well, here you go. It's like here's a version of it in 14. Although they did say Yoshi P did say for the PC version they were
there might be
considering
advanced.
letting
Yeah,
you play as Jill and maybe Sid and some and Joshua and some others maybe. So we'll have to see. That would be pretty cool.
I would
Um,
enjoy that.
do you think there will be a 14 component in 16 at some point? Because sometimes these
I
crossover events go
yeah,
two-way.
I do want that to happen. Because they did that with 15, from what
Hmm.
I remember.
Yep.
It was just a vice versa little thing. I don't think they did that with 13 though.
No,
Did
they
they?
didn't do it with 13. I don't think they did it with Dragon Quest, but like Fall Guys, we did like
Yeah.
have that. So some do and some don't.
Well, I
Um,
think personally the director of 14 should talk to the director of 16 about the
yeah.
crossover. Maybe. You saw him in the suit on the stage. It was a little is a he's way more strict from what I noticed.
Yeah, there definitely seems to be some kind of like tension between them. Hopefully they can
Mhm.
like work it out and come to an agreement. But
I hope so.
yeah, yeah, I definitely hope so too. Let me I know we were talking about like jobs earlier, Pictomancer. We talked about
Mhm.
Viper, Pictomancer. They also announced the limited role job, a new one. And it
Pokemon.
Pokemon, yes, you're gonna be a
Pokemon.
Pokemon trainer. And the collaboration is on its way too. So the Pokemon
I
Company and Square Enix, they are collaborating. You are gonna have a blast. Like, forget all the. It's also like it's the lifestyle content. I don't know if you saw that too. Like,
mhm.
you are going to like the Savari Zone. I'm just kidding. That would be amazing. People would lose their shit if that
That
was
would've been
like the large
actually
scale
insane.
content was Pokemon Savari Zone.
That would've been really cool.
But yes,
Ooh, Safari Zone.
Beastmaster was
Mhm.
announced, a limited role job. So my question is, yeah, how do you feel about like the limited role jobs? I did listen a little bit to the Mog Talk TV episode and saw you did mention you have played Blue Mage. So I was going to
Mhm.
ask you about like Blue Mage, and you kind of talked about it there. So you have experience with Blue Mage, and it seems like you like it. So are you
I
excited
do.
for Beastmaster, or do you have like any concerns going in with a
I
limited
just
role?
I wonder how we're gonna get I you played 13 too. I remember
Yes.
mentioning this before, but I feel like we're gonna recruit monsters kinda like that game did.
Yeah.
13 2 did pretty well, I feel. I had a lot of fun. I did all 151 Pokemon, but all 150. Yeah, it was actually 150 in 13 too. That's funny.
Like
Huh.
my biggest question is like because you already have like the summoner and scholar can have like their pets following them. Like,
Mhm.
will Beastmaster be able to have like you pick like who's like your pet who follows you out in the world? That'd be kind of like nice to run around and have one of the mobs that you caught, monsters you caught, be like your pet running around with you too, or something like kind of like I don't
Yeah, let me
know.
get a Marlboro. Just walking
Oh
around me.
man, like the intimidation factor, just walking around like with that.
It would be a huge scale thing. I'm not sure if they would.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like it'll be a lot to size everything to walk next to you.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna
I don't
happen.
think
I
so.
guess my biggest
Mm-mm.
questions are, will Blue Mage and Beastmaster be able to do content together because they're both limited roles? So you know how there's no like duty finder. You can do party finder with Blue
Mhm.
Mage, but you can't queue into content as Blue Mage unless you like have a preformed. Like you can't just like queue up for the duty roulettes each your dailies as Blue Mage. It locks
I
you out of that. Do you think they might allow that with like Beastmaster and Blues being able to queue in together or no?
I think they'll be able to queue them together, but I also think there's gonna be a level
Gap?
difference.
Okay.
Yeah, there's gonna be a huge level difference, at least for now. So maybe if you want to get like tomes for like future events, yes, but you wouldn't have too many options because I think they're gonna start capping at like 50 or 60 for Beastmaster and then update it along the line.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting if like now that you put that out that it might be staggered behind. So I'll be
Mm-hmm.
honest, like I had fun with Blue Mage in the beginning, but I'm kind of over it because I I kind of wish they would like. I'm for everything. I never want them
Hmm.
to cut content. I want them to add more from existing stuff. I don't care how crazy or chaotic or stupid it sounds. So it's like I don't understand why Blue Mage couldn't do ultimates. Like it's like let them have their own special reward or something. So like I didn't understand why Blue Mage can't go like into like deep dungeon and like just let them have their own special like thing. Let them do it. Like even if it doesn't count towards
Yeah,
achievements, just let people do it. And like in PvP, I'm like, why can't Blue Mage just go into like it's a
I want to
special mode?
explode.
Yeah, this
I
like
want to
it's just
explode
goofy and
people.
shit. It's like just let people screw around. So like Beastmaster, it's like cool. Like, can we have them interact? And so my concern is like it is a limited role. It is restricted out of some stuff it can't participate in. I my this is where like I'm a bit of a hypocrite where I'm like, man, like let everything be. But I was like, man, I feel like you're wasting time with this and like like find a way to also make it work with regular jobs. Could you just pick a few of the blue mage skills and like balance them a little bit and add it as like a
That'd be
normal
cool.
make a normal version of the job you can play normal content with, and then you have an expanded version that's the limited role that can do all this stuff. And can you do that with Beastmaster too? Let it have all the crazy weird shit and do all the special types of content, but you have to do preset stuff if you want to play with other jobs normally.
Slowly but surely. I hope so, but it does seem like a lot to do. Like they're tackling
Oh,
on two new jobs already. They're gonna do Beastmaster. We'll see how this whole thing folds out. I do want to ask. You think there's always gonna be new classes every single expansion? So do you think they're gonna
oh.
stick with two every single expansion still, or they're gonna
I
slow down?
okay. I so this is that's a like a very interesting thing to think about, and I've definitely thought about it. Obviously, I think a lot of people thought about it. I'm of the
Yeah.
mindset that like we are getting maybe too many jobs. Like I'm already at the point where I'm like I am so intimidated by how many jobs. Even like and so, for example, I mostly only play other jobs outside of the healer jobs, only in
Hmm.
PvP. I could play every job in PvP, and I would like to humble brag like pretty competently too. But the
Hmm.
more they keep adding, it's like even as because PvP is simplified, it's not as
Yeah.
complex of rotation and actions as PvE. But even with that, it's gonna start getting out of hand. It's like, oh man, being like, there's gonna be some like you just like it's just too much. So I wonder if they might consider either combining some old jobs into like a new job, like taking the best elements of like some of the older, less popular jobs, or they
What's the
might
least popular job?
so I don't know. They have the answer, but like for one thing, I
Mhm.
would be interested to see if they could ever combine like samurai and ninja into like a new type of job that like incorporates some of their elements. Obviously, I know PvE people are screaming at me, right? What are you talking about? That doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense. But I think like thematically is what I'm thinking about, like taking two jobs that have similar themes, but like they're also going to be like the functionality. Like how do they function at higher levels? Is like they're going to be a suitable replacement. So this is why it's their job and not my job. It's like the developers, Yoshi and the team have to figure out what they're gonna do. But I would not be surprised if we get down to like only one job
For
going
expansion
forward.
soon. Yeah.
And I mean, maybe not because they seem to have like a DPS is like the popular job, right? The one that like most people are drawn to. So maybe they do for the next two expansions, maybe we get another DPS and another tank next time. And then the one after that, another DPS and a healer.
I
But
wanna say they're gonna change it up. There's not gonna be any DPS, it's gonna be tank and healer.
I would be
I
fine
wanna
with that.
because
I
we don't
yeah.
there's not that many healers anymore, I think. Well, scholar does
We have
count.
too many melee jobs. It was like I thought we were gonna get like we're gonna have four
We need
casters,
more
three
range
physical range.
DPS.
I
Yeah.
thought we were gonna get physical range and a caster this time around to like balance it out. Like, ooh, 4 and 4. Now we're at a good
Mhm.
spot with that. And I don't know what they're thinking with this, but there is gonna be a point where I think it's gonna get a little bit complicated.
Like, crowded also on the menu that
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe I mean, this is funny coming full circle. Would they ever go back to like re-embracing, not exactly, but the theme of how jobs used to work where you had cross-class skills? This is before you played. How it
No,
used
I
to
did, yeah.
work is if you wanted a skill to use for your job that was from another job, now it's role action. So all the melee have shared role actions, all the tanks.
Mhm.
But before, for example, like White Mage, if you wanted Swift Cast, you needed to level up Thaumaturge Black Mage to a certain
Oh, okay,
level,
yes.
and
You
then it
told
would
me about
become
this, yeah.
unlocked and you can activate it. So, what if they went to a system where it's like the current jobs are now the like there's no more Conjurer or whatever. It's like White Mage is the base class and like Sage is a base class, but like you can pick and choose some of their skills and make like Devout, which is like the advanced version in 3 or 5 of like White Mage and like Sage
I don't know
or
if they will go back to that.
I know. Like, I'm just trying to throw out
Yeah.
ideas. I like this is the thing. I don't know. And like, would anything be more complicated? Because I don't know if they want to necessarily go any more complicated with the direction they've been going, where they've been streamlining. So
Mhm.
yeah, I have no idea. But like, I do think if they maintain the course, it's gonna slowly get out of hand. And I think they might see some people voice concerns of like, I can't play all these jobs. At the very least, Tiffany, something that needs to happen, and I'm on board with this.
Well,
Sorry to re-echo like other content creators' complaints. I do think they need to make leveling up your alt jobs faster. Like no one
yeah.
leveling is not the experience anymore. And they have to know like even with their business model, like people aren't paying just to say sub to keep grinding for this. They want to play fun content. Make it easier to that and make it easier to gear up your jobs.
You know what's crazy about it? For myself, I actually don't have complaints about that because
Okay.
maybe it's because I'm in Dynamis and we have the road to 80, so it's super fast for us.
Oh yeah, that buff makes things like very,
So
very
quick.
quick. Like oh man, like even doing like an MSQ, you're like so over leveled on stuff
Mhm.
to the point like yeah, I wish they would give you an option to maybe like um I don't know how do you do it. Something that like you wouldn't be so over leveled. Like you can just level sync. Never mind, they have the option already. Whatever.
For for myself, like leveling up, I would do my Wondrous Tales. I would do my weeklies because those just those alone and like Dynamis, that's like easy, like 3 to 4 levels just from that. Um uh yeah, I feel like other servers don't have the buff that we have, so it was super quick for me to level up. And maybe when Dawntrail comes around, they might do like a road to 90. Give everyone like a chance to catch up. Hopefully. Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
you'll get they'll have the new earring accessory that'll catch you up to 90 through level 90. So like once you hit 91, it won't work anymore.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure they will change the road to 80 to road to 90 buff. But again,
Hmm.
you have to be on a certain server to get, that
Yeah, I'm on
benefit.
Dynamis, so I have that.
I
So I haven't experienced the other one yet.
Yeah,
Like
I wish
from
there was just like some way to like manually activate that if you wanted to for any server for your alts. Maybe not for
yeah,
your main, but
that
for
would
like
be
your
cool.
alts because the more you get, it's like even with those nice, experience boost, it's still gonna get a lot of jobs you have to like level up and up. And it's like people just want to jump in and play some of those jobs, and try them out. And it's a bit prohibitive when you have to go from like level 1 to like 100 soon. It's like,
Yeah, I kind of wish they did more things like Summoner Scholar, like they both level up at the same time.
oh yeah.
I wish that was more of a thing, but it's only just to that for some reason. Like, imagine if Dragoon and Reaper both level up at the same time. I think that would have been cool. Like, your item gear thingy, like any class that wears this, so all level up at the same time. I think that would have been nice, but they're not gonna do that.
Pokemon level share, EXP share.
Oh, exactly. EXP sure would have been nice.
I think the reason they don't is because they do sell those potions, the job boost potions.
Hmm.
So it's
They
part
need
of
money.
they need money. I mean, giving away one of those with a new expansion, along with they said they're giving us a Fantasia because of the
Yeah.
graphic update.
Oh my
I feel
God.
like a job boost needs like WoW started doing it eventually. I don't understand why 14 doesn't give you at least one each expansion. Like starting about now. Someone maybe it me. Someone asked you Naoki Yoshida about it, and I think he said when we've had a few expansions under a belt, we'll consider that. I think it might be time to consider that.
Yeah, maybe. I remember telling like when the live letter was on, and I was just like, oh, since it's a new graphics overhaul, they should give us a free Fantasia. And everyone's like, they're not gonna do that. I'm like, I mean, they should. And then Yoshi P just comes out, so we're gonna give everyone. I was like, oh, I am a genius, bro. I felt that. I had that
Heck
echo
yeah.
coming in. He was like, oh, all right, fuck me. I don't know. I
Hey,
don't know
now
anything. I'm like,
you knew it.
listen.
Yeah, you sniffed it out. But it also goes to speak that like they understand their player base. They understand that
Hmm.
like despite doing their best to make the graphic update reflect how your character looks now, some people might be unhappy with how they
Yeah,
look. So like
you have
we did
to.
that to you. We're gonna give you at least one chance to like change
Mhm.
that up and get back to the look you want. And like it's just like it's a nice gesture. It just shows
Like,
that they will care about you.
they gave a free one during the end of A Realm Reborn. They gave a free one for the collector's edition from Heaven's Sword, but they never did it again afterwards, right?
No, because they like became one of their best. They started seeing they were their Fantasia were like their best sellers. So I think
Mhm.
there's probably a top down discussion from the higher
Yeah.
up saying, please don't include
No.
those for free anymore. So I think that's why this one's
Mhm.
a big deal, is because they really are trying to avoid at all costs giving away one for free. Even though they go on sale every
Huge.
so often, they won't just give them away. Yeah.
It's super huge, and the fact that not just a small amount, it's gonna be every single person getting one. Over 20 million, no, 30 million players now,
Mhm.
apparently. They just announced it was 30 million, right?
I wasn't paying attention, but I didn't know what they announced, but I do pay attention to the was it the Lucky Boncho census things they
Mhm.
post on Reddit every now and then, which is supposed to be a more like accurate reflection of who are of active players. And it seems like 14's, despite being in like going into the stretch before the expansion, is still in a pretty good place.
Mhm.
The expected drop off isn't as bad. So I mean, the game's obviously doing well. I mean, it is well, like there are concerns obviously going into Dawntrail. We just wrapped up this big storyline. Can they keep the momentum going? Um, yeah,
They will.
I don't see any signs of it slowing down right now. We'll have to see after the next expansion where they're going. But real quick, we were already talking about like why we're using Fantasias because like the graphics update. Yeah, how do you feel about the graphics update? They spent time during three
I am
keynotes
so
talking about it.
excited.
Okay, you are.
I'm so excited. I want to see all my favorite characters in their peak, on their prime. They're gonna look so good. I'm gonna replay Shadowbringers. I'm looking at you, Thancred and Arbert, because I'm gonna enjoy every second of it.
Hmm.
I'm honest.
I'm
So like,
I'm waiting for because it's gonna eventually get to every character. I'm waiting for Amaric. I want to see
oh
updated
yes.
Amaric because that
Mm-hmm.
is my in game character is romantically tied to Amaric and Hilda from Heaven's Ward. Those are
Yeah, Hilda's so pretty.
yeah.
Whatever happened?
I know. I've been waiting. Like it was like oh that they kind of like haven't come back. I don't know if they'll ever bring them back,
We
but
should.
Amaric is they could we can get more
I
Amaric.
One thing I tell everyone is that in this world, everyone has a chance to come back. Like even like in a cameo way, because you know how many times Harshavan has been back in MSQ, like cameos and
Yep.
flashbacks. That's all I'm saying. I
Yep.
know Arbor's gonna have his thing one of these days. I'm gonna pop off the second that happens. That's all I'm gonna say. Cause Shar is living with you. We'll see what happens. Solution 9, I am looking at you. That's
Okay, we want to talk about Solution 9.
yeah.
I had like I think everyone else's reaction of like flabbergasted, like, whoa, what are we looking? This is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I like this like everything from like Fantasy Star Online to like Xenoblade. I was like, this is so. To me, it was like amazing. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I love when you show me something that like I didn't expect this. When it comes to fantasy, that's what I want. I was getting a little worried with like how most of the new world was looking. It looked pretty, but it looked
Mhm,
very much like inspired by, the real world, North and South America. It's like,
mhm.
okay, like it's old West, that's cool. It's a cool vibe. But once I got to like that like kind of like nice dark, like glowy, like forest, those like blue flowers or like those ice crystals, whatever they were. I was thinking of like Final Fantasy X Macalania Woods. It's like,
Yeah,
ooh,
I
I
know that
like
was really
that.
cool.
I like that. And then
I
they showed Solution 9. Yeah.
I remember like you could see the text from it from Solution 9. It's definitely inspired by like the Pandemonia like Elpis like alphabet, like prototype alphabet. So I'm just like, ooh, got my interest. One thing I remember I was talking with someone. They was like, "Oh, it's gonna be a whole new storyline from scratch." I'm like, "It's not gonna be a new storyline from scratch. Everything is still connected. Something from ARR is still gonna be connected to the story. Don't expect a clean
It's
slate
you're going
at all."
to the best thing to do is after you play it and you find out what the storyline is there. If you have the
Mhm,
time, go back and replay all the old expansion content. There will be a line from someone in the MSQ
mhm.
that they like knew about, and they're like, we're gonna make that reference that. Like
Yes.
replaying A Realm Reborn a few years ago, I was shocked at how many direct references to Heaven's Ward, Stormblood, and even stuff in Shadowbringers like that were in there. And like, what the hell are they like? What is this? I don't like at the time,
Mhm.
like, whatever, this is nonsense. And it's like, no, they remembered this, or someone's job was to go back and play through this, make all the notes, and be like, we mentioned this. We could probably expand upon this in the story.
Yeah.
Let's use that as the seed and expand upon. So something in one of the past game or expansions is going to be the basis for this. It's not going to be. I would bet a lot of
Yeah.
money on that.
I didn't understand why people think it's gonna be like a clean slate, that everything's gonna be fresh and new. If that was the case, we wouldn't have the scions around anymore. We wouldn't have like all these characters. If they want to
Oh
do something
yeah.
fresh, it will be something fresh. It is not gonna be fresh. Everything's gonna be still connected. It's just gonna be one big storyline. Yeah, the big villain arc is over from like the whole final days and Zodiac and all that, but we're gonna have a bigger threat now. It's gonna be bigger. You know it
Oh.
is.
Oh yeah. They're gonna go, like they definitely have something cooking, and we're gonna like see it play out in Dawntrail. Like,
What do you think it's gonna be?
I mean, I have
Curious.
no idea what it's gonna be, but I think one of the things that still is left unexplored is that the star was sundered, and
Mhm.
it's still like, yeah, the Asians had their objective to like reunify everything, but it's like, and we just spent all this time like in the void and like the MSQ with like the quote unquote filler arc
Mhm.
with Zero. I think there might be like some like now that Endsinger is gone and the thing that caused let all this, there like might be some unintended side effects and consequences of like, well, and Heidelin being gone, it's like, well, the worlds can't sustain themselves sundered anymore with like Heidelin and Zodiac gone. It's like,
So hear me out.
yeah.
What if chaos actually comes into the play because of the effect of and Singer and everything is done? So now chaos is now the new threat later on. I was thinking about this for the longest because there has to be a balance somehow.
If it gets me Jack Garland in Final Fantasy
Not
14,
not
I am
just Jack Garland,
all
but like
I
legit
no, I
chaos.
know.
Yeah.
I want like if they do that and but they can just like embrace it and like make an NPC version of him a human that is literally Jack Garland. That will be like I know this is Mimi, but I love this shit. I freaking love
Stranger in Paradise
Stranger
is
of
fun.
Paradise. Jack Garland's like the best thing. I want him in 14. Like I like yes, I want, but like the
There's a
concept of
reason why I
chaos.
brought it up.
Oh yeah,
You remember the Omega raids?
yeah,
You know he was a part of one of the alternate universes, right?
yeah.
We never explored that. There's a chance we could finally get his true form or something coming in later. We'll see.
It's totally plausible.
Hmm.
My gut is we're gonna find out about one of the ancient like races that existed before us was dealing with another giant like universal threat
Hmm.
that was sealed away and is coming back. That's generally how it happens in like these JRPG anime style
Yeah,
storylines. It's like some
boy.
yeah, and there'll be like hints of it, like, oh, this seemingly random shit we encountered before had nothing like, oh, it's just like some aside stuff. It's like, oh, we're gonna repurpose that to be super important. It was actually referencing this threat, and like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's gonna be like bigger because like, oh. Endsinger, Dynamis, it's like, oh, that was a big thing. And now it's like, oh, this threatens like, this also is like a big threat. And like, I don't know where they're gonna go with it. I mean, stakes usually involve
Stakes
like,
need to be high, man.
yeah, destruction of everything you know, or undoing things you've known, are usually how you go higher than ending your universe or your world. Is where do you go? Ending the multiverse or all worlds and universes,
Off charts.
or undoing everything you've achieved so far and going to like making a bad outcome happen in place of that. So those are two of like the biggest tropes I feel like in storytelling for upping scales. But also I'm not opposed to doing like just a really good villain who's just like a general like world threat again. I don't think you always need
Mhm.
to do constant escalation. I think
Yeah.
you get like run into these problems where it's like, how do you outdo the previous thing? It's like what MCU is going to be running into,
Oh
like if they
god.
haven't already. It's like, where do you eventually, like, this gets ridiculous and people get tired of it. You need to go scale down, and that's part of your job as a writer, storyteller. Is like, you need to come up with like compelling characters who are on like lower stakes, but like you need to make the audience feel like those stakes matter again.
That's actually an issue I have with the story lately. I feel like they're playing it too safe. Cause I feel like in the beginning, like in ARR and Heaven's Sword, like when people die, it's over. That was it. Now I feel
Yes.
like we don't really have that.
Yeah,
Like everyone kind of just everyone lived. I thought half of the cast was gonna be dead in Walker. I was kind of surprised everyone lived. I was like,
I'm
huh,
with you on that. I am.
huh, okay.
I'm actually quite surprised considering how many characters they've killed off in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the forget their name, the female Hrothgar,
I forgot her
sorry,
name.
uh, it's a W and an L. It's two. It's like it's well, first name starts with W, second name starts with L. I think. Please don't kill off that character.
They will. Can I
They
say
already
this
have a
now?
reputation
They
of
will.
introducing a major new female character and then like just
Hmm.
killing them off in the expansion. It's like, thank you. I don't know if I'm
They will.
pronouncing this right. Wook Lamat or
They're
WUK.
gone. Guess what? They're a warrior. Guess
Let's.
what Moinbrea was?
Oh,
A warrior.
am
It's
I
over.
crazy? Were a lot of people, Tiffany, thinking about at the end of like Endwalker that like maybe the Scions are still around, like several of them are gonna die, and we're gonna get like a new group. Like some of the
Yeah.
old who survive, we're gonna mix with a new group. And
Mhm.
I'm hoping this is what Dawntrail is actually going to do. Is that like, yes, the Scions are sort of getting back together. This is a thing, but I feel like by the end of this, they're starting to introduce a bunch of new characters from end of Endwalker and this. I wonder if we can get like the next generation of Scions or the next group,
Mhm.
going where it's like one or two characters will be around constantly, but I feel like we do need like a new kind of
The thing is, they
ensemble.
just talked about in an interview recently, talking about people are asking, "Oh, is it gonna be new Scions?" And Yoshi P answered saying they want to stick with the core class because it's gonna be hard to do developments between new people. So I was like, "Huh, okay, I guess." Like this was just recently, in a few days ago. I need to find the article, but they talked about keeping the Scions together. But we need something fresh. We need stakes. No offense, but like I love Thancred with all my heart. He's one of my favorite characters. He should have died in Shadowbringers. Just gonna say it now. He should have. The fight with Ranji, he should have died right there.
Oof.
I
Oof.
love him. He's one of my favorite characters of all
Wow.
time. He should have died.
I'm shocked you said like shout out breakers. I thought most people would just go to Endwalker and like, oh, thank Red's
No.
an obvious one. And it's like even before that, all right. Imagine
You know what
the
should have
impact.
died? Graha. Graha should have died. 5.3.
Raw would have. Oh, okay. I was all but assured that he was going in 5.3. Like that
He should have died.
setup was like he's going bye bye, but no, they didn't. I think they've been. Yeah, I understand why they do
I get
this,
why,
but
but
I do think they need to like subvert expectations. I do think like one of the core group needs to go bye bye. Like hopefully by the end of this expansion, it's
pick
patches
a character.
because what's like? Do you agree with this, Tiffany? Like, if you
No, I
keep doing
agree.
this, if you keep doing this, there's no more like there's no stakes. Like, I don't feel any tension in any of these like
Hmm.
earth
You
shattering
get it.
like fights. I'm like, they're not gonna die. They
So
won't kill them off. I don't care. Like, we're gonna win. I don't
I'm
feel it
gonna say this
anymore.
now. The reason why I keep joking about Xenos coming back, Arbor coming back, is because there's no one else dying. So I'm like, fine, just bring me back my favorite characters then, and let me have fun with that. Because Arbor's, he's still there. So it's not like he's gone. Xenos, we don't know what's going on there. So I'm like, let me just have fun with it. Bring them back. Since no one else is dying, just bring back our characters. Let me have fun.
Yeah. And then as far as
Shola should have been dead.
and as far as I understand, like, the ethereal sea, like your essence, it's the life stream. You go to it and then
Yeah.
you actually get
Oh.
reincarnated. It's like,
Oh,
oh, you actually no one ever dies, I guess. They just come back eventually.
that's what I want to talk about. I've been having a theory for a while. I said this was going to happen during like 8.0, but there's going to be at least a good portion where our character is dead and we explore the live stream. The ethereal sea. I need that to happen
Ooh.
so badly.
That'd be kind of
We
cool.
never went in. We never bother going into like the live stream before, and I need that to happen.
All right. I'm down.
That is one of my main things. I put money on the table that we're gonna have our. If it's just a sequence, whatever, but it needs to happen. We are in the live stream. We explore what's going on there. We probably see some voice sons who died on Eorzea because they want to get reincarnated because they died on purpose. Remember, so maybe the live stream gets corrupted, and we have to go in. I think it will be a great idea to explore. Hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, it could also be another thing tied because like if like the thing sustaining this stuff, like because of the outcome of Endwalker, it's like
Hmm.
maybe some of these like tenants are like falling apart, like they can't sustain themselves. So if like the life stream can't sustain ethereal sea can't sustain itself anymore, it's like, oh,
Hmm.
our life is threatened. Like whenever things die, they like we might not have new life. Like that's a big threat. It's like life will end because
The
we can't
Nova, the
make new life.
calamity.
Yeah, yeah.
It has to happen because they've been talking about the live stream since ARR. You will see Yashola go in there. People talk about the reincarnation, ethereal sea constantly, but we never seen it like ourselves. We need to see it ourselves. It has to happen.
Yeah.
It has to.
Well,
It probably won't be in Dawntrail because it's the beginning, but 8.0 I feel like will be a strong time. Like something terrible will go wrong. Something
yeah.
terrible is gonna go wrong soon anyway.
I do wonder that I didn't really have this on the docket, but like how many more expansions we can have that are just like strictly like Eorzea focused. I mean, we
Hmm.
obviously have one giant landmass we still have not will not have been to after this expansion left that we know about. And I do feel like if we go there next expansion, like they have to start considering what are you gonna do after that? Are we gonna go to other stars?
Other
Like
shards,
yeah,
probably.
are there shards or other stars? Like, are we gonna go to space? I mean, we're already doing that with cosmic
Space is yeah.
exploration, so
Perfect segue.
yeah, they're
Hello.
they're doing that. I have to say, I am excited about cosmic
I'm
exploration
excited.
because they said it can be done solo or with other
Mhm.
people. To me, that was the biggest shortcoming of Island Sanctuary is that there was you can have your friends come over, but there was no sense of working together. It didn't have the
Yeah.
firmament. It wasn't the firmament. I do think it might have been better to have Island Sanctuary have just been like Firmament 2.0, where it's a
Mhm.
zone where multiple people on each world were working towards a common goal. But I think they also wanted it to solve like we don't have enough player housing for people. Let's give you something that's sort of like player housing that you feel like you have some attachment to. Now that they've done that, I think this is what it will be. Like any type of lifestyle content, it's like you will be working together with other people if you want. But like, when it meant solo firmament, you could do by yourself. You didn't have to
Yeah.
work with other people. That's what it's gonna be.
I wish like I like Island Sanctuary. I'm like one of the people who genuinely enjoy it. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I like it. So but I did wish that people could come on your island and actually help you like do some Animal Crossing thing and chop down your trees or like, get stuff together. The fact that they were just watching you do this was kind of weird. Like, oh, okay. You can't even help me out and get supplies. What's the point?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I forgot to water my crops or something. I mean, if you didn't have the attendant do it, it's like, could you go do that for me? Or like, I can't log in tonight. Can you go like set my schedule? Like that would have been like the easiest, simple
Mhm.
thing. Like, can I have like a friend go set my schedule for my like my work stuff so I get like my calories, whatever they're called, the
Mhm.
currency for the week, so I
Make
don't
them
like
a
miss
tenant
out. Yeah,
somehow.
it's
That would have
like
been way better.
yeah, and sorry, I meant like Ishgard. I said firmament,
Mhm.
Ishgardian restoration. Like that's what I want. This
They're
cosmic
doing moon
exploration.
restoration now, which is just
So I'm
interesting
curious
to
if it's
me.
like phases where you start on one like planet or star and then you move on to other ones as you like level, like as you progress? Or is it gonna be like a seasonal thing, like with each patch we get like a new place to go to? It's like, oh, if you haven't caught up, that's fine. You take your time. You're gonna start here. Like you start on the moon and then you go to this star and then you go to this planet because they're sending you into multiple ones. Or if it's just gonna be you're just going around to different ones as they dictate. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but like there's so many things they could do with it.
This is where my next question leads in. Do you think we're gonna get moon housing?
Okay, I have the thing about housing. I have what did you want to see for housing? Um, Moon housing would be awesome.
I want Crystarium. I want to go to the first.
I am not sure where they're gonna do their next housing. I don't think it's gonna be the moon. I know a lot of people want that.
Crystarium, please.
Uh, do you want so you want to go to the first and have housing on the player housing on the
Because
first? Okay.
realistically, we have the main cities. We have Ishgard, which is Heaven's Sword. We have Kugane, which is Stormblood. We need something related to Shadowbringers. And everyone loves the first. Like, you cannot deny this. Most people love Shadowbringers. Most people enjoy the Crystarium, the whole storyline. Like, that would be a instant hint, like right there.
Okay.
I
I
know
would.
people want Garlemald and like
I was about to bring up
Alameda.
Garlemald is like the one they say a lot of like a decent amount of people suggest, you know, having another
Hmm.
like snow like or snow themed area. Saw Dapper Cactor in chat wants Radzadhan.
Hmm.
I would even say like the New World, like tropical, like, you know, beachfront, you know, properties like that. I mean,
Hmm.
um, we already have Mist, you know, that's like in Limsa, but this
Hmm.
could be like even like that's more like a seaside town vibe, where this could be like tropical paradise, like they did that with Land Sanctuary, I guess. But I mean, with moon housing, my concern is they have to make all these new housing items that like feel futuristic to me. Because I
Yeah,
want like like I want some sci-fi themed stuff, so they're gonna have to add a lot of that. I don't know if they'll be able to do that right away. So I could see why they would not go to moon housing right away and do something like what you're
that's
suggesting. Yeah.
that's why I said Crystarium. You know how many Crystarium items are already in 14 and just of the lakeland trees, the patches, the lights. There's so many Crystarium base items. They have to do Crystarium
Uh,
housing soon.
the
There's no way.
Novik Solace and Ninja Kitty Meow in chat
Solution
wants
9. Oh, that would be
Solution
so
9
good.
housing.
I will take that too.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're gonna do that anytime soon.
Cyber, like, yeah, like if it's just cyberpunk themed, but yeah,
Yeah.
again, like I want some housing items that also match that theme if you want to do it, because obviously every housing zone just looks crazy because everyone's picking their own house styles, but
Yeah.
it would be nice to at least have one type that could fit the theme of where you're at.
They
Yeah,
did
go
oh, I'm
ahead.
sorry, my bad. They did
No,
talk about expanding, like, housing items and, like, making it more customizable, which I'm really excited about. Maybe they'll add more wards. Maybe they'll add more, opportunities for people to get houses. I got lucky getting a house. I got a medium, and then I went to a small, actually, because I don't want mediums too much. I'm like, I'm tired. I'm gonna go cozy.
okay.
But, like, I'm saving up money because, funny enough, if you didn't know, like, in the ward I'm in, I pay for most of my friends' housing, so we're all in the same ward.
Oh,
So
that's
once
cool.
the new spot comes out, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna pay for my friend's housing, take 3 mil, take 10, 19 mil, get a medium, and we're gonna just have our own little cozy spot. That's our plan.
Dang, that's nice. It's like if you win the lottery, like buying all your friends' houses like next
Mhm.
to each other and stuff. That's pretty cool.
I That's why I do a lot of maps because I like treating people, and that's why I like the game, and this is why I never get bored of the game because I like to treat people. I like people to have fun. Am I destroying the market? Perhaps.
Hey,
Don't worry about
there
it.
were some people back in the day who like bought out entire wards to be like smug about it. Not like nice, not being nice, but like we're
No,
like,
I treat
yeah.
my friends.
Yeah, there this has been done in like nasty ways. So doing it in your way is a nice like change. So I wouldn't feel like any guilt
Huh.
about doing that. Yeah.
I like some of my friends got their houses for the first time, but in our defense, we're also in, like I said, Dynamis, which is the new server. So it was easy to
Yeah.
get houses. And I was like, listen, here, I got you. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna just do more maps and make more crafting stuff, whatever. And I'm just looking forward to Crystarian because I'm gonna buy a large. You don't under I'm
Yeah.
They frame one.
Cause the part where you go to sleep in the story, like, that's, like, where all the housing's supposed to be, those, like, the on the east or south,
Mhm.
like, down
Where
there,
Arthur
yeah.
comes in.
Yeah, it's supposed to be down there, so I could see that naturally being where you go to your the housing zone. Yeah, that makes a lot of
Mhm.
like, I think that makes a lot of sense. It'd be nice. I mean, you need places with more space, there you go. I mean, they need literal server space, but in-game RP reasons, like, there's a good amount of space there. We talked about cosmic exploration, like in like that type of content. We did
Mhm.
mention a little bit. I have like one last topic for like what they talked about, the field operations. We talked a little bit about
Mhm.
it's community content people want. They did confirm it's coming. We
I'm
didn't
excited.
get any more real details about it, and to me, that gives me the little bit of concern here about it's not coming until a little bit further in the expansion, and this is my personal gripe. I feel
Mhm.
like if that content's coming back, it needs to come sooner. I really personally expected it by point one, because coming
I
at point three or later, I feel like people start to complain about where's that community content, where is that, and it's especially if it's tied to Relic. I do feel like either Relic
Oh, you're
and
right
or
about
this
relics.
content needs
Okay.
to come sooner. If it's not tied to Relic, if it's its own thing, maybe it'll be okay coming later. But if
You've been
this
doing
is
it for
gonna
Manderville, right?
Sorry?
The relic stuff has been like
This
Manderville,
time was
correct?
Manderville, last time it
Yeah.
was Bosia, the time before it
Yeah.
was
Oh,
Eureka,
it's Eureka.
and then it was the bunch of junk stuff that people
Yeah.
were complaining about back in the day. And if it's going to go back to Bosia Eureka, I think they need to have something by point one, because the relic itself is another thing that I think a lot of players feel is like a long term investment over an expansion.
Mhm.
And it coming so late, I think caused a little bit of that rift where people were like wondering, like, where's all the stuff I do? I didn't necessarily agree with a lot of like the videos and the opinions coming out of like
Mhm.
late last year about Endwalker's the worst expansion. Where's all
I
the
never understood that. I was
I
just whatever.
yeah, I was like, okay, like this is your opinion, but like you need to also like, we don't need to get it. I had my rant
No,
on it. Yeah.
I gotta say this because it's something that did annoy me for a little while. It's the fact that everyone, a lot of like old heads, try to say my opinion's invalid because I'm new. I'm like, listen, I play MMO head like games in the past. This is
Wow.
just normal stuff, all right? You always have your content drought. If anything, 14 does a lot to try to cater to everybody. Just because you don't like some of the content doesn't mean it's terrible. That's just your opinion. It's not anything bad, but it's
Yeah.
just not for you.
Yeah. Without like calling out anyone, there were definitely people who were taking genuine people trying to have like in good faith argument discussions with them, like
Mhm.
challenging their opinions, saying no, you're being like toxic bad because like you're just they wouldn't give you the time or
Yeah.
day. And it's like that's called a discussion. Like, and this isn't like some bullshit bad actor where they're just like trying to get a gotcha moment. Haha, I got
Yeah.
you. Like they actually genuinely feel right about this. And this is video game stuff. Like it's like this
Yeah.
isn't like this most serious thing. So like no one's coming at you with like some crazy extremist view or some shit like that. It's just casual video game talk. Like, why are you so defensive about to me, there was something else like other things going on with that. But yeah, it was like people were trying to paint this narrative. It's like if that's your experience, that's fine, and you're totally allowed to make a video about that. But so many people, I felt like were trying to paint it as like this is the consensus of the Final Fantasy 14 community, and I'm like,
No,
what
it's
the
not.
hell are you talking about? Like, where
Yeah.
do you get like even my comments all said like that's your video comments. Like, do you know anything about research analysts and data analysis? I'm like, you don't know. Like, no, you like stop.
It
Like,
it
this is
did annoy me
dangerous. Yeah.
because they definitely try to gatekeep like new players for a while. Like your opinion's invalid because you haven't caught up with the content yet. It's like I caught up with the content a while back. Like I said, it's been months already, and I understand like how MMOs work. Like you don't do everything in one shot. And I feel like a lot of people rush content. Like I noticed like on launch day, people would like will do every single uh what's it called raid and then do savages within the next like few hours and they clear it like all right I'm done I'll see y'all in 3 months 4 months. I'm like you could have just chilled, the game's not going anywhere. Relax. It's fine. It's not a contest. It's just do your own pacing. You didn't even try the other news stuff that came out, like what was it? what was it recently? The criteria dungeons. They missed out on criteria dungeons. They missed out on they didn't touch Mandeville whatsoever. So I was just like, there's more to this game than what you play. I don't know, whatever. I know people just like to do savage hardcore like raiding. They don't care about the story. I get that, but don't push your opinion that there's nothing to do when there's a
Exactly.
lot to do.
That's the thing. We talked about the very beginning of the show is
Hmm.
that this game, cast a wide net and they can't just cater to one group of people. They're trying to give everyone a bit of content, but also a little bit, this is nuance. That statement is a little bit untrue in that they do favorite the wider audience content. The stuff that brings in the most people is the stuff that's going to get the most attention. There's a reason why they said the two die stuff and it got the biggest applause. Like they know
Exactly.
what
That's the most casual
content
content.
is going to draw the most players and keep sustaining this game. So when you're doing a bunch of hardcore content and you finish it fast and you're like, where's more? They're only going to give you so many resources. It's not that they don't like
Mhm.
care about you or don't value you. It's that, like, that's all they can give you, and with making all this other types of content, and they have to focus on other things. And yes, I understand the gripe, but like, please understand that the other stuff probably is a higher priority for them, and that if they did have more resources, they did have more people. Go and watch that new interview by Shuhei Yoshida interviewing Naoki Yoshida on the AIAS at Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences that just went
Mhm.
up recently. Yoshi P compares the 16 development team and 14 development team to like 15 and like how and rebirth or remake and how big
Uh-huh.
those teams are compared to the 16 team and the 14 team. So when you
Which is
doubt,
insane.
yeah, when you want to get a little bit of insight into what legitimately is going on behind the scenes before you start crying about lazy dev and all that red flag bullshit that like makes me pissed off because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, go watch something where they're actually telling you legitimately what's going on behind the scenes and understand that like it might be their biggest moneymaker, but they're also on a budget and they're not giving them more resources. They're not giving them more money. 16 dev team coming back isn't the copium that's going to fix the game. They're already splitting duties between those two games. That was like insane for them to do that. And
Mhm.
other games that they think are just like, for a reason, are higher priority, get more staff, get more budget, and they have the resources. So it's like they can't just throw more money and people at it because even as high up as Yoshi P is, he doesn't get to the end of the day overrule his bosses and be like, "Give me a bigger budget." Like they say no, that's it. I mean,
Mhm.
like you don't work there, you
It's a
don't
lot.
understand it.
And the thing that kind of annoys me a lot, more so like recently, is that this talk we're having right now, people are gonna say we're shills because we're like, you know, oh God forbid, uh, you don't see what's going on behind the scenes. They even talk about what's going on behind the scenes, and they just see it as, oh, Square Enix has a lot of money, so 14 has a lot of money. That's not the truth at all. And people don't see that. Like they
Eh,
don't have all the funding from 14. Square Enix takes it, put it into other projects.
it's a business.
Hmm.
Business people run it at the end of the day. There are budgets and they have to make money. And when
Hmm.
something is printing cash and it has a low operating cost, they don't pump more money into it. They keep letting it print cash. They don't
Hmm.
see a need to like do stuff like that. The same thing like with like I hate to say it, like Nintendo. They do this a lot too. Their games sell gangbusters. Pokemon, the latest Pokemon with all its
Oh
flaws and
God.
stuff, still sell well. Their online is never good, but like it's people still subscribe. It's like
Don't even
when
get me
when
started
it's
with the new
making
Pokemon
money,
game.
what you're not sending like if the game was faltering and not doing well, I think that would be more reason for them to change direction, change approach. Like
Hmm.
that's more of and like losing money like that's when they start making changes and making big decisions. When the game's doing well, like they do ask. Obviously, they are getting improvements, but it is either people doing like side passion projects, like what we got Flight in ARR. They weren't going to do that. It was just some team working on the side on their own time, and they're like, "You went this far, let's just include it in the game." It's like people, normal people working there, busting their asses off because they actually like the game, they like their job, and it's like that's not them throwing more resources. That shouldn't be happening. They should be getting paid for their time. They should be budgeting for that, and they should be getting more money. But like, it isn't what necessarily is happening. And yeah, like the shill thing, it's like having like interviewed and
Right.
worked in this industry and like seeing how like other developers work, it's like this is pretty consistent. Just talk to a developer. Like don't make assumptions. Like I understand like maybe that's your thing. Like you got to be like it's okay to be critical, but like understand
Yeah.
it. It's human beings working there like you and me. It's like you don't have to be like, man, these lazy devs are like fucking idiots and stuff like
Like,
that.
I
That's you don't need
understand
to
the
do
game has
that.
some faults. Games has some faults. I will still say to this day, 14 is my favorite Final Fantasy now, which is crazy. I know I got some shit because I love 7 and 9 with all my heart and 10, and people are so surprised to put 14 over all of it now. Because I think it's that well. I think it's that good. But it's just uh it's actually insane how badly these people like will talk about like the team. I'm just like, you don't okay. You know what? Go ahead. Sure. I'm not gonna be able to change their minds. That's another thing. They have their own ways. They stick with like their opinion. I'm like, whatever makes you feel better. All right, just
Yeah.
deuces. I'm tired.
Yeah, like the game it definitely has issues. we're,
It has
we're
issues.
not gonna get into like
I still like
you
it.
want me to list all the issues? Like if you want if
No.
you give me PvP, I'll go through all the PvP problems. I like rant about it
You
all
want
the
me to talk
time.
about my issue with Heaven Sword?
Oh,
Mm,
we could just talk about yeah, Heaven's Ward is a real worst expansion with it. Like if you like want to
oh,
get into like everything story wise, maybe not, but like
the story kind of annoyed me a little bit.
it nearly killed the rating community, and it had a lot of like broken things with it, like with job balance and like
Mhm,
job complexity at the point. Like people have rose tinted glasses when they look back at like how complex stuff was, and it's like it wasn't oh yeah, the original diadem. Thank you for bringing that up. That trash diadem
mhm.
1.0. Anyway, like there are a lot of flaws. Like I will like I will get on the
You
bandwagon
got
to like just gearing in this game, like end level gearing for like rating and stuff is like too damn slow, and like I don't understand. I'll be genuine, no one's really been able to like deep dive question the development team about
mhm,
why are you so still sticking to this old fashioned gatekeeping with gearing with so many jobs. Like it should be easier to gear so people like we were talking about leveling gearing. It's like you can't even play these jobs in some of this content if you're not the right eye level. So it's like
mhm,
why are you making so restrictive to play like so many different jobs? Like you want people to play these different jobs. Like it to me, it's a clash of ideologies, and I would
mhm,
just like the chance to talk to them and be like, I just want you to explain it to me. I'm not like angry at you. I'm like I'm confused, and I would like you to maybe address this. But like that, yeah, that's one of the things. For example, like I was like, that's something that is I do feel like is a big flaw with the game, and they really haven't dug into that to give us like a good enough explanation, in my opinion. But yeah,
I'm so sorry about her.
oh, I love that kitty. Look at that kitty. Hi,
What, please?
kitty.
Her name is
Oh.
Rebel. She's named after her full name is Rebellion. Obviously after Devil May Cry,
Oh.
the sword.
Ah,
Yeah.
my
But she don't listen.
my
I'm sorry,
cat's
Rebel.
name is Cloud. He's a white fluffy
Aw.
cat, so that's why I tell everyone why he's named Cloud, but he's named after Cloud Strife. So
Yeah, Rebellion, the sword, but Rebel for short, because
gotcha.
she don't
His
listen.
late sister was Tifa, so I had Cloud and Tifa
Aw.
are my cats. So yeah.
But I'm sorry to go back to this. One thing that does like get on my nerve is like I will say how much I love 14, which I do. I love it. I even have like the mark right
Oh
here.
yeah,
I have a nice little tattoo. I'm getting another tattoo in the future, like something
sick.
Shadowbringers related. But like the second you said something negative, they're like, "Oh, so you hate the game?" It's like you could criticize, you could critique a game with all the love in the world, and people call you like, "Oh, so you're just you're a hater. You're just saying this stuff to like get Square Enix approval." Like, no, I you could critique a game and still love it. Can you not comprehend that? It pisses me off. It pisses me off so much. You don't understand. It gets under my skin.
I understand. Understand.
Mm, but
Uh,
whatever.
yeah. Let me. I technically didn't have like a time limit for the show. Like, I'm always just trying to be respectful of the guests. That's why I always said 60, 90 minutes. We are
Mhm,
just at the 90-minute mark. So
mhm.
I'm gonna bring us into our last little like thing here.
Okay.
So looking forward at I will I'll gladly like we can get back together, Tiffany, and talk more about like
I'm
I'm having a
always down. This
blast
is
with this.
fun.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you, like, before I forget, though, like, we got all this news, but like, just in general, Dawntrail. So, of all
Mhm.
the stuff that's been announced so far that you can think of, like, what are you most looking forward to from what's been revealed in all like the keynotes and fan fests?
Um, if I had to pick like a top 3,
Hmm.
one of the main things is the new Ultimate.
Okay.
I'm really excited for Future Unreal. I love the Eden series. I love Rain and Gaia, and I hope they tie in the stuff with like the Shadow Keeper. I'm a little I there's a chance for a little Arbor cameo in there, so I have hope. But everything with that, I'm really excited about because I really love the first. That's like my favorite spot. Shadowbringers is my favorite expansion. For Dawntrail, I'm excited to see like what's gonna be the new threat. I'm a huge MSQ person. I love story, so I am excited to meet these new characters. The girl on top on the poster,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
curious about.
Yep.
I have a funny little theory saying that's Princess Sarah, which brings me back to the whole chaos theory.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, she does look a little bit
some
like her, now that I think about it, like, especially the Stranger of Paradise version. It's a
yeah,
little
that's
bit
why I
like
was
her, yeah.
yeah, so I'm like, it'll be funny if it's like another version of her, you know. Like I said, this is their own story, you know, little Easter eggs. The last thing I feel like I'm excited for, it's a little weird, but I just want to see the rewards for the PvP new series. I really like
Oh,
PvP.
really?
Yeah, I want to see what level 25 is going to be because that gives me I love like I just love queuing up for front lines and seeing like the new rewards in general. So I want to see what that is.
Glad you alright, that's
Hopefully.
pretty cool, yeah. They did another complaint, they do need to improve rewards just in general across the board, especially
Are
in PvP, so it'd be nice to see them.
legit question. Are we not getting a new reward thingy soon? Or is
For
it gonna
what?
just stay like this to Dawn Trail? Like the
Oh,
series.
there's a rumor, so this is the first time we're going through this,
Mhm.
the series reward. So there are people speculating that one did we not get the preliminary patch notes already? Did I miss that?
I don't know.
It
I
it
haven't
would have
checked.
been
It's
in the
been busy.
preliminary patch notes if we were getting a new series, and I think they might have said something by now. There are people copium was that this new patch was gonna give us, because it's the end of the season for CC, and we're getting our
Yeah,
probably our
season 9 is
last ranked
fun.
season. There are people thinking we might get another series, one
It
last
has to
series,
happen
and it maybe if it's not now, they might do it, like, in a
in
point, like,
February.
6 or point 7, or yeah, something somewhere around
Like
then.
5.8.
Yeah, because that's a long time to go without an updated rewards, and that's the thing, I think those rewards aren't updated enough, and there aren't enough rewards in there. I think, like, just in general, the PvP reward structure needs to be looked at. I
Mhm.
think they maybe because it might cannibalize the Moogle Tombstone event, because that is generally where you get all these old rewards that, like, some of them are pretty good to get that, like, "Oh, that used to be hard to get. Now I can just get it through here." Awesome. They need to have that mentality of PvP where it's like, "Oh, I can get this reward that's not even, like, related to PvP if I do that." Like, they need to just add more stuff to that to get people involved in it.
This is where I was gonna ask because I don't remember the other awards. So we had Ruby Weapon Minion, we have Emerald Weapon Minion. Did we ever get Diamond Weapon Minion?
Oh, I don't keep up on, like, the minion rewards from the EX trials. Someone in
Because
chat
that's the
would be able
one
to
we're
answer that.
missing, which is why I'm like, we need to get it soon. No? I don't
Yeah. I
I
would think
don't
they would
remember.
give that one if they haven't already, so hopefully that could be added. I personally like from the yes, but the series award, like, I mean, mounts and
I like the
minions are
gear.
nice,
I
but
like
the
the
gear,
gear.
I think we just need
Yeah.
more gear. They really need to, like, I'm hoping that the 2 dye thing applies to some of those gears, because the current way you can dye them is not very good for any of those sets. I
Mhm.
think they will benefit greatly from the 2 dye setup, and that's gonna be, like,
Including the
even
latest
more
one.
awesome, yeah. So,
Um, it's
gears.
always been a surprise because I wasn't a PvP person like at all before. But it's something I go to in this game. I'm just like, I just like having fun with this. This is my shit now. I adore it. It's something I do on my ults for fun. Like I'll do like an NPC character and I'll like mess around with people like, oh my god, it's this character. Like they love the whole RP. So it's been entertaining. And I don't know, that's just a me thing.
Oh,
But
man.
I do love it
I
a lot.
have, like, insane ideas. I think, like, if you wanna get, like, PvP super active and stuff, you add a 3rd gear set that could be used in conjunction with the tome gear and the savage
Oh,
raid gear. Obviously, like, savage raid gear should always be, like, the one you get right away. Like, the PvP gear should be, like, a little bit, like, more difficult to get, like, it's, like, a
mhm,
bit of a more grind. But, like, in fact, it rolls into, like, I just want more ways to gear up characters because I think it's too slow. So it was like
mhm,
me brainstorming ideas for how would you tackle increasing the amount of gear you can get, but also like like increasing activity and other content that might need, like, a little bit more, you know TLC, or
mhm.
yeah, that's right.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's one thing I wanted to ask you now. So what was your top 3 thing? currently, like looking forward to for Dawntrail. Also, I forgot to mention the raid series. I wanted to know Solution 9 and everything that's going on there too. There's a lot I actually am excited for. But
Yeah.
what is your top three?
Okay, so like I mean, besides like MSQ, like MSQ
Mhm,
is on like one the top three. Like what like yeah, where are we going with this? Um, it's actually like 7.1 when we
mhm,
get like this is Mycopium. Like they said on the NA Fan Fest we were getting like new maps for Frontline for Rival Wings.
mhm.
Big changes were coming then. That's when we were the PvP people need to wait for it. So 7.1, like what are the big PvP changes coming? What are the new maps? Because like as much as like Frontline and Rival Wings, there's only one active Rival Wing map. They took away a Frontline map, so only have three, and they replaced one of them, and not for the better, in my opinion. So there's like really only two good maps that are interesting maps, in my opinion, right now. So
Your two
it's in
favorites.
like it's probably in the worst place it's ever been, Frontline, in my opinion. So my copium is
Hmm.
that we get like this big relief in 7.1. Like, here you go. Here's all the stuff you've been waiting for. Let's go. Like, it's exciting again. And then honestly, I think the thing I'm looking forward to is like the zones. I always like seeing like the new zones in the game
Yeah.
and seeing like getting to solution 9. Like I'm very shocked they actually showed us that. I kind of
That
like
means something crazy is gonna happen.
yeah. I feel like if they're showing us that, there's something else more insane
Mhm.
that's going to be happening because that seems like a big thing to reveal. And like that moment, like the first time, I always remember the first time I saw Amarat appear in the
Oh my
Tempest. I
god.
was like, oh my God, like look at this place. This is amazing. Or like just everywhere in like the first zones were so damn good to me. Or going
Shadowbringers
to
is
the
so
moon
good.
and Endwalker. It was like, holy shit. Like this is like the music, the vibes there was like
Mhm.
really good. Elpis. Oh my god, when we went to Elpis, I was like, I know they showed the artwork off, but seeing it in act, I was like, I love this. Like they just do craft such beautiful zones, and like I just love
I'm
spending
so
time in
excited.
them. Mhm.
I man, talking about it now, I'm just like, but it's only a few months. People are complaining that it's such a far away. It's not like you have to wait like years from down the line. It is in a few months. It's not that bad. I still
Well,
say it's gonna come out like June, what,
okay.
28th?
So you
Like,
think June? I was gonna ask when you think this is probably coming out.
so June 28th or like maybe August 2nd.
Okay.
Like I'm going by a few days beforehand. So that's the Fridays I'm going by right now.
Because early
You know.
access weekend will begin
Yeah.
on a Friday, yeah, and then the
Hmm.
proper launch. Yeah. I think it's anywhere between June and August. I mean, that's obviously they did say summer. I do see some people think September. I don't think it's going to hit
September,
September.
no. No, it's not.
Realistically, I think it's probably going to be July. I think it's
I'm
going to be
gonna
July.
I'm gonna go on a bet. Did you know the new art book is getting released for
I saw that. I tried to see if it was on Amazon Japan or Amazon US yet because I don't like
you saw the
ordering.
release date, right?
I actually didn't see the release date. No.
June 25th.
Oh, okay. Do you think it's going to coincide with that?
It's they usually, it's a good little way to like promote like, oh, get excited. This is some of these notes. So it might be like a few weeks afterwards or like a few days, who knows. But
Mhm.
the fact that it's June 25th and they just announced it right now, I was like, okay.
I
It's
feel like what's going to happen is because I even saw you on was it you or someone on Mog Talk? I mean, they you should be already said why they're not revealing the hard date yet because
I
of what
called
happened
it
with
out too.
yeah,
Hmm.
that it was you. Okay, I remember. I was listening. Um I think what's going to happen, I wouldn't be surprised if we get the media tour happens first before we have a release date. And
I want to know about
the
that.
media tour is when they internally tell, like, the press the date, and then when the embargo passes for the media tour is where the big blowout is, where we see all the job actions. We
Ooh.
get, like, a big, like, deep dive into a lot of elements of the expansion, like, the final
Mhm.
aspects of the expansion. I think at that event, when they do that, they announce that, that will be they'll just call it like a something event. I forget what they called it last time. They had like a dedicated event just for the expansion. It wasn't a fan fest. I forget what it was
Mhm.
called. I think they will do that again, and that's when we'll be closer to the release date than you're
Yeah.
expecting. I don't think we're
Square
gonna
Enix,
yeah.
hear us out. Listen, hear us out. I would love that actually.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun.
I mean, I would yeah, I don't know when that will be, but generally the media tour is like roughly 6 weeks before
Is
the
okay.
6 to 8 weeks before the expansion comes out, and then like the embargo is about like yeah about like a little over a month after. Like
Mhm.
I was looking back at what they were before, and I'm like, oh yeah, like this is generally the time frame. But again, they could be doing things differently this time because they're a little bit more cautious about the release date, and that's
Which is
why
completely valid. I don't know why
yeah
people got mad that they didn't announce it. I was just like, listen, you guys complain because I wasn't even in the 14 community at the time because I was always with Resident Evil, Devil May Cry, all this other stuff. Like I do know about 14 because I played 7 a lot and all this other stuff. I knew nothing about 14. But I remember when that came out, it was like, oh, it's like a week later, and people were so pissed off, and because they're like, I did my vacation hours, I
yeah
can't do any of this anymore. And they were like furious. I'm like, first of all, relax. Number one, why they even said it's not set in like stone. I remember something like that. Someone was mentioning like, it may change later on. It's possible because that's just usually how things are. And like in any release date, they're like, oh, it might be a pushback. Like seven, what happens in 7 remake? It was in March originally, and they
yeah
pushed it back to April 10th around that time.
yeah
And
that's not
people are pissed.
yeah that's the thing. It's very like it's not uncommon for
Hmm.
something to get like how many times we saw it all last like we've seen it so many times.
Hmm.
I think with like 14 it just didn't like I mean I guess we had like COVID delayed everything and they were like
Yeah,
upfront
that's something
about
people should
that.
have
Yeah, but I
thought
think
about.
other than like a pandemic, like 14 really hadn't been inflicted by delays, which actually I don't think is true. I think one of the expansions they originally announced like a
Endwalker.
well, before Endwalker, I think there was something that and before the pandemic, wasn't Stormblood or Heaven's Ward, they said like a month, but not the hard date, and then they came back with the date, and it was like actually like not the same month or something.
Oh, I don't know about that
Now
actually.
I might be misremembering, but like I kind of question if that was like the only first time they've ever had like a delay. But I'm guessing
Mhm.
like most people in their heads are like, oh, when the developers say this is happening, it's happening. Every patch comes out on time, so the expansion is definitely coming out at this point, and I
Oh,
get it.
the
Yeah.
earthquake.
Maybe it
That's what
was for
happened?
the Earth. Yeah, was it for that? Maybe. I'm trying to
That makes
remember.
sense.
Yeah,
I
but
wasn't around 14 around that time, but yeah,
there
like,
was
I don't
something
understand
like
why.
that. But I mean, like that's the thing. It's one you have to understand like things change. And at the time, I remember saying this, Tiffany. I went on like on Twitter and said like, "How about you don't be angry at the Square Enix and the dev team for like trying to make they're just trying to make their game." And yes, I'm sure they feel
They
like
were sorry
terrible. They
so
were like, yeah,
badly.
like look how
Mhm.
their body language how they felt, but also like maybe be angry at your employers and the stupid ass like system that like
Exactly.
makes your
Yes.
PTO so fucking rigid like that. It's not their fault. Like in most other places, like, oh, no problem. We'll switch your week to next week. There's no problem. It's like,
Mhm.
it's something. Why did you look at the real problem and like that's
One
what's
thing
going
I
on?
will
Yeah.
say, and I tell people this all the time because a lot of my friends work retail. Guess what? They will replace you in 2 weeks. You are worth nothing to them. They don't care. They don't care. Just quit. Quit. If they don't listen to you, quit.
Ugh, yeah.
Girl, you are so easily like replaceable to most of these companies. And it's the truth. You're busting your balls, you're trying to bust your ass for people who are just don't give a shit about you later on. Be like, oh, you know what? We'll just get someone else. Quit your 2 weeks. And
Yeah.
quit.
This reminded me of the was it internet brands or whatever WebMD video
Hmm.
that was getting roasted yesterday or 2 days ago, like a Back to the Office video the CEO put out where they had like it looked like every executive who was like talking in the video was like
Hmm.
in there under duress, and they were also shooting it against a green screen. They weren't even in the office shooting it, and at the end they did some weird ass like music dance video that like I was like this is satire, right? No, it's not. This is them really like, oh god, this is horrible. Like, yeah, just a big disconnect with
Ooh.
that. But anyway, the very last thing I wanted to ask you about is there something that you want to see happen or some kind of piece of content you'd like to happen in Dawntrail that hasn't been announced or talked about yet? There's something you that's like personally are hoping that comes to pass, even if it's like a pipe dream.
Do you want a joke answer or a real
I'll
answer?
take both if you want to give me both.
All right, give me my dating sims.
Shit, that was
give
what I
me
was
give,
gonna say.
oh, actually, that was my joke answer because I was gonna make a joke about like they do like funny little
Yeah.
things in MSQ where it's like, oh, do you want to talk to this character? You want to like give me a funny date mechanic like how Seven is doing it recently because I think that'll be interesting. I always talk about Arbery, so that's my joke. But on a genuine personal like thing for myself, I want a lot more golden saucer games. I
Yeah.
want a lot more I want like motorcycle racing and the golden saucer, maybe blitzball, maybe something. I just want to be in the golden saucer way more because I love, like, come on, think about
You
it.
had to say blitzball, didn't you?
They had to they need to expand the golden saucer a lot more. I feel like they are testing the waters with like the Fall Guys event because they can make it like an instance
Hmm.
where it's like, oh, you could come here for this. Maybe they'll do construction in one of the patches, like we are making a new area. You see I was gonna say that's the Manderville man. We're just gonna say I'm Godbert. You just see him doing construction in the little corner, and you just see a new old like whole arena. I think that'd be pretty cool. Expand on the Golden Saucer because a lot of people love that area, and I think it'll be really sick. Plus dating mechanics. The Ferris wheel ride. Come
But
on, you
the
know the
dating
carousel
mechanics would
stuff.
be in the gold saucer, though, right?
Exactly
There,
right.
there you go.
You know the gondola. You could bring your favorite NPC
Why can't
there.
that be a week?
Come
Why can't that be a
on.
weekly? That's so weekly. Like you have to like figure out how to like go on a date with who you want to go on, and like you might not get the person you want that week, so you come back next week and try again. And like there's like a bunch of different paths, and maybe each week they rotate out who the characters possibly are.
They need to. That's what I was gonna say too. For the gondola rides, maybe go with random NPCs throughout the week. You'll see Emmerich like in the Golden Saucer, and he'll be like, "Oh, do you want to go on this gondola ride? Let's catch up." Nice little small little dialogue talk. That'll be adorable. You could see Lise somehow in the Golden Saucer. How did you get here? What happened? I don't know. Whatever. You'll see like some of your favorite characters or whatever. I think that'll be fun. A good way to like not get rid of the old ones and still enjoy like their presence. Um, but on a real note, day mechanics jokes aside, I think a lot more Golden Saucer games should be coming in
Yeah, I would.
and update their rewards.
They talked so much about adding gold saucer awards, and we barely got
Hmm.
anything this expansion. I'm like was saving up so much
Hmm.
MGP, and I'm
I have like
like,
over a mill already.
oh, I've like 10 million something. I've been waiting. Every Moogle event, I just get MGP because I have like
Oh, I
mostly
didn't
other
do that
items.
now.
So I'm just like get a few million every one. I'm like, what do I have to spend on? I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just like sitting here waiting for these things. But yeah, I
Hmm.
do think like Gold Saucer needs like some more additions to it and something to keep people coming back because it does feel like outside of like the recent Fall Guys event, which is now
Hmm.
turned off temporarily, it's been kind of like stale for a while.
Hmm.
It does feel like something that's a bit of a missed opportunity, but
They need to do more gold saucer stuff, and I think that's something I will look forward to. That's like a personal, fun little thing for me. Um, yeah, I'll say that gold saucer.
awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Not an answer I even thought about. I was like, yeah, I love this area. It's one of my favorite chill spots.
Nah. I mean, I have like my like copium is like there's so many new things related to like PvP. I'd love to see them try.
PvP, I love PvP, so
Well,
yeah, I agree.
like I mean, besides just new maps, I wish they could come up with another new mode that's like not quite that's in between
I want
seas.
1v1, like real 1v1s.
Oh, outside the dueling arena? Well, I
Yeah.
mean, my real copium is they give us a server on every data center that's world PvP enabled. Like, I just want to be able to like PvP out in a zone or something, and like it's opt
Oh.
in or whatever, but like it just switches over to your PvP hotbar when you're out there, and I'm like, look, can we just goof around with that? It's not a serious server. Like they did the cloud beta test. Let's make it like that. It's like you understand that like this is a joke server that like
Team Libza. I just read that. I'm sorry.
yeah, like that's all I mean, maybe in the towns, you're like in the rest zones, you can't do anything, but you go out into any like the field environments and like here you go. There's just PvP if you want. And
That
like
would be kind of
or
cool.
use your PvP actions against mobs. Like I don't know, just like goofy shit like that is like awesome. But so besides like something like that, like a new mode, either something that's between like 5v5 and the 48 person 24 versus 24, like maybe an 8v8 or like a 16 versus 16 mode, something that's like not quite small but not super large, would
Mhm.
be nice. They kept talking about that Blue Mage Battle Royale idea they had, and it's like, you know
Do
what?
it.
That's not that bad of an idea.
Do
Or
it.
maybe you could bring
Easily.
something like that back. Or just a new type of like mode like that would be like absolutely fantastic. So
I
I'd love to
want it.
see something like that. Um yeah. And then like with the field operation stuff, like I hope it's like intriguing. I want like another one of those Baldecian Arsenal or the
Mhm.
Lubrum Regine style dungeons where you all have to work together, and it's like, these weird new systems that you have to deal with. Like death it's a bigger consequence to die. That's the challenge. These mechanics aren't that hard, but dying is a pain in the ass. You might not be able to
Yeah.
res that person, and as you lose people, you can't body checks, you can't do the mechanics. Those are kind of like fun to do. And honestly, if it's a trouble making new assets, part of me wishes they could repurpose the existing zones and all the game from A Realm Reborn onward to just
Mhm.
function as that. Like there's maybe once you've beaten the MSQ for each expansion, there's an option that the existing zones could turn into those battlefield operations where they have like the like it's the same geography, but like it's not just regular mobs in there. It becomes like a Eureka Bosia type environment with like
That'd be
new
cool.
systems and new mechanics. If you load in, like you have to load into it. You can't just like leave Limsa and then go out into Lower Lenosha. It's like when you go there, it'll be like when you go to housing. It's like, do you want to go to normal lower, or would you like to go to like the instance or something? Like it's ask you, or maybe there's a checkbox. Whatever it is they do, you could go into that. It's like, oh, there are stakes here. It feels like it's not just easy to get around in here. Like there's something I'm working towards, and like community content. Like it makes those old zones interesting and worthwhile because there isn't a lot of reason to go back to some of these old zones outside of hunts and gathering and
Yeah.
crafting. Yeah. I feel like they should give
Fates,
and
no.
yeah, it's like give us a meaningful way to go back to old zones and reutilize them again would be kind of like a nice thing for me if they could do
I
that.
agree. I do fully agree on that. I hope so. Like sometimes I'll just go around just because of G posing, but that's really it. I just like leave my character, do a little twirl, a little screen. That's it. I don't do anything else in most of the new zones, and it kind of sucks.
You said
I wish they. Well, go ahead.
You uh, you said 1v1 stuff for PvP. Did you ever do
Hmm.
any of, like, the solo duels in, like, Bosia?
Um,
Those, you had to, like, qualify for them and then
I got murdered.
okay. Would
I
you
forgot which one it was, but I got eviscerated. My friends were cheering me on. I'm like, it was at like 80%, and I don't know what happened. If you get hit once, it was over. That was it. I was like, oh
I
my
kinda
god.
would like to see more of those come like, if what I was talking about, if that I would love to see more of that type of stuff, and then maybe, like, a little bit easier to get into them and, like, they just
Mhm.
spring up. Those were fun and good
They
concepts. I
are.
think they were, like, initially a little frustrating because they were so difficult and it was a one
They are pretty
chance and they
rough.
were hard
Yeah.
to get into, but,
It
like,
was worse because you don't know any of the mechanics, so you kind of have a long time to do that fight again because someone else might get the chance, not just you. It's an RNG opportunity because someone else might have a chance to go to the dueling area if they also didn't get hit by anything, which
yeah.
is what kind of I was like, ah,
I understand they can't make it instance because then you wanna, like, have, like, people being able to cheer for you, which is kinda like the thing of, like, having everyone around
it's
is part of,
fun.
like, the
It's fun.
vibe, but, like,
Hmm.
yeah, they had that system where you got, like if you got passed up, it added, like, a +1 to a counter, and, like, the higher your number, the more likely you're to get selected. I think,
Hmm.
like, they can figure out another way to, like, tweak that to make them more frequent. Excuse me.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and if they could just find a way to bring that back, and even if you don't have to do like the crazy stuff to get into like something like a Baldician Arsenal, just making
Hmm.
more Alliance raid style content that's like that. Like, can there be a version of Alliance raids where you can't res? It's like you die, like, just like fun, like Savage versions or something. I know they have Criterion in that for
Yeah.
that, but could they do something similar for like other existing content where you have goofy, like just goofy modifiers like that would be really cool. So, like, I
I would
guess
like that a lot.
custom mode is what I'm asking for, like custom queue system. I mean, I want this for like PvP as well, like for other reasons, but that
Mhm.
concept could be applied to a lot of the existing content to like do like really good challenge stuff just to like, I don't know, to have fun. Like maybe you could like pick a bunch of like EX trials and like make a gauntlet and set like restrictions. Like if
Ooh.
someone dies, they're out for that run. And if everyone wipes, you go back to the beginning. Like, I don't know. There could be like some
You
fun stuff
know,
like that they could maybe allow us to do.
this kind of reminds me of another thing I wanted in the Golden Saucer, funny enough. I wanted like a battle square where
Oh yeah.
I would love a battle square, like a test of your knowledge and mechanics.
Because we have
And you
that for Blue Mage with the Masked Carnival, but we don't really have
Mhm.
that for normal
For a
jobs.
regular, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, like challenge stuff, like
I would love
see
that.
how good you really are at your job. I mean, Deep
Mhm.
Dungeon is sort of that to an extent. Like it challenges
Yeah.
how well you know your job, but like that's like a sustained marathon. Like it's not like a sprint.
Yeah.
Whereas this would be like this is a very intense,
7 rounds of
Yeah, like
you know
you gotta go. Like it's you don't like you can't kite something around. Like it's like you gotta like know this and like go really like yeah. I could see something like
I
that.
will love that. I've been waiting for, like, a battle arena thing, like, you get a few, maybe a few potions, and, it's kinda like the slots, you can't use items anymore, you can't use your, tinctures for, like, strength, you get a slow debuff, maybe you turn into a frog for, like, 10 seconds in the middle of the fight. I think that'd be
What if
cool!
oh god, there's so many yes, there's like they can even do like an auto battler thing where because that's in Final Fantasy VI, that's the Colosseum. What
Yeah,
if you
you
could
also
put your
saw
character in there and you have to pick like certain skills and you could duel you asked him for 1v1 duels. What if it was like an auto battler thing where you throw your character against someone else's character and you like wager on it at the gold saucer
that would be
and behind the
cool.
scenes you're picking your skills and it's like this is what I want to do and like they go at each other and it's like whoever wins,
You get it, you get it. You get
yeah.
the vision.
Yeah,
I'm
this
thinking of something
yeah,
like
I
that.
like this. Yeah, this would be good stuff.
I'm a huge fan of, like, Battle Square stuff, so I'm like, "Listen, you gotta do this in the Golden Saucer, or at least a concept of it in general. Like maybe that would have been a good PvP thing, like I mentioned before. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Maybe they put it in PvP, maybe they put it in the Golden Saucer. We'll see.
Do you remember oh god, yeah. The one of the versions of Diadem had that, like, emergency thing where one person got to do a fight. It was like the duel before the duels in Bosia, and, like,
Mhm.
imagine if, I was like, in PvP, sometimes PvPs can end matches can end in a draw. Not in CC, but in Frontline, it can. And I think Rival
Mhm.
Wings I think it's very hard, but I think Rival Wings technically can, but Frontline absolutely can end in a draw. If it ever did that, they should, like, take whoever's, like, the top DPS or top kills and send them
Oh,
out
that
into,
would have
like, a
been cool.
1v1 where everyone has to, like, watch
Yes.
around.
That would you see, the immersion would be phenomenal for that.
Yeah.
I would do way more front lines. Oh my god, I have so many more ideas. Square, hear me out,
I
please.
feel like, yeah, if, like, so many people have, like, ideas. It's just, like, them hearing them and parsing through them and, like, what they're already doing. It's, like, that job has to be, like, so stressful to, like, collect all that, like, information and, like, turn into, like, meaningful, actionable, like, suggestions to the development team. Um, but
The
yeah.
last the last thing I want, give me more friend,
Oh, yes.
uh I need 500 at least.
Yeah.
That's it.
They that not just that, they need to overhaul the friends list
Mhm.
system in general.
Please,
That would be
please.
very nice to do. Well, I think that's probably gonna do it for this episode. We can always come back and have like a round two for some other
I'm
deep dive
so
into
down. This
some
has
other
been so
stuff.
much fun.
Yeah, I wasn't exactly sure like how like deep we wanted to get into stuff, and like it's very clear that we could definitely do a follow up on this. But for
I have
yeah, go ahead.
so many thoughts about this game. I love this game with all my heart, and that's one thing I feel like people, uh, understand by now. Like, if I didn't like this game, I would not get a tattoo on my body. Come on. I adore this game with all my heart, and I wish nothing but like the best for like the dev team, and I want them to pull through, take care of themselves. But like I said, they're gonna give us one of the best experiences out there, and I will not question it like right now. I know people are like being very, oh, it's gonna be another Stormblood, and they're like talking about like writers. I was just like, listen, I'm gonna wait for it to come out, and I'm gonna have a blast. I am excited. You're not gonna change that for me. I'm super hyped.
Heck yeah, heck yeah.
I
For
love.
our listeners and our viewers, if you want to let them know, Tiffany, where they could follow you if they want to check out more of your stuff. And my cat just made a cameo in the background there.
Hey, I'm not the best with self-promoting, funny enough, but if people do want to catch me on Twitch, I'm Tiffany Lockheart. I do a lot of 14 on Sundays, but I dabble in so many other games too. So don't just expect 14, but like I do a lot of Resident Evil. I've been doing a lot of Yakuza recently.
Nice.
Lethal Company has been a lot of fun, but I do a lot of video edits. I'm a Capcom creator. You may see me around in other streams doing some stuff. Like I said, I'm not the best at promoting myself, but I just like to have a
That
good
was pretty
time.
good. I'm very like self-conscious and like sometimes like uncomfortable with like praise or trying to like promote. Like I'm the same way. And like I always feel awkward when I'm doing it, but I
It's so
think
weird. It's like
you did pretty good there.
I just like chilling with people. Like I got the opportunity here. If you guys didn't know, I was just like, yeah, I would love to come in because I used to actually watch you guys during game trailers.
Oh,
Funny enough,
wow, okay. I didn't
yeah.
know, like, you watched all the way back then. I thought I thought you were
Mhm.
like a newer like viewer or a follower of like Easy Allies. I wasn't. I hadn't actually never. I didn't even ask about it. How rude of me. I didn't know when you like first, really started like
I
seeing noticing her content because I remember
I
noticing
remember yeah,
your stuff because of like your association with Max and Maximilian Dude.
mhm.
That's when I first became aware of you was through that.
A lot of people
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember, I think this is gonna be a story I never told people, so hear me out.
Okay.
I remember you guys for a while. Do you guys remember, Death Fantasy?
Yes.
I
Monium.
watched
Yeah.
it yeah, I watched it 'cause of, you guys, and,
Oh, okay.
I remember I used to talk to Monty a lot back then, and
Oh,
I did
wow.
AMVs. Yeah, I did AMVs of his
Oh,
content when I was
sick.
a
That's
kid,
awesome.
and Monty was really supportive, and he was always telling me
Oh,
to, always video edit. This is actually a real, like this is a, story because you guys know what happened to Monty,
yeah.
and it breaks my heart to this day, but, yeah, Monty was always the person who motivated me to keep video editing back then because I would do AMVs of his, Dead Fantasy, uh,
That's
episodes.
so
And
awesome.
it was because of like I said, it was goes back to game trailers. So, the more you know, the more you know.
I thought those things were the coolest things when I
Mhm,
was like, just my mind was blown. We actually were fortunate enough to have him on an episode of our Game Trailers podcast. Our original one's called Invisible Walls. And
mhm.
like, I think I was just like, kind of like bit starstruck because I'm like, dude, this guy made all these things. He's like such a badass. Like, this is sick. And like, I didn't get like a chance to say anything to him during the podcast. Also, I was like a little bit newer, so I was still like a
Yeah,
little like, shy in those situations. But yeah, that's awesome to hear. That's like, dude, sounds like super nice and encouraging. And
I
yeah, very sad that we
yeah.
we, we
It breaks
lost
my
such a
heart.
legendary person. Yeah.
I just thought it'd be funny for you to know that that's how I actually got
I
introduced
was
to you,
not
like, a
expecting
long
that
time ago.
actually. I was
Mhm.
not expecting it to go that far back. I'm actually
That's
very
how you know.
surprised. Yeah.
A lot of people don't know what game trailers is, but that's how I, got introduced to you guys
Oh,
originally.
I thought when you said game trailers, you could talk about like the later years, like when they became more personality driven.
Nope.
Yeah, so like that's what usually I expect when people are like, oh, I actually knew you during game trailers. I'm like, here it comes, like the Defy era where you saw like all our like personality shows, and like whenever someone says like before that, I'm actually like, oh, really? Because like
I'm a old head.
there we
I'm a
go.
very
I
old head
feel
for
like
that.
that time period is a little bit like lost slash neglected. So it's kind of like warms me up when I
I
hear
don't tell
people.
people this that much, but I've been watching for so long, so, like, in the past, and, like, I always will catch up. I remember the transition period. I remember, like, supporting, like, Easy Allies when you guys rebranded because I was like, "Oh, shit, alright, this is cool." But, yeah, the more you know. It was ever since Monty way back in, like, 2009? Was it that was 2009? Dead Fantasy? Yeah, 2009, 2010. And then I got to meet Monty because he would go to like New York Comic Cons, and I will always see him there. I remember taking pictures with him all the time. Little story, something small. Before his passing, back in like 2015, in 2014, or 2013, I'm not sure which year it was. It was one of these years, but uh, he had a long line. It's Ruby related, and it was like going super far. I'm just like, I'm not gonna go on the line because, I'm gonna see him, later on, like in another convention, right? And I just go to the bathroom, and I see Monty actually come out, and he said hi to us, and that shit always warmed my heart up. I was
Aw.
like, oh, I remember taking pictures with him. He was such a sweetheart, and then, you know, it breaks my heart, but Monty was honestly one of the sweetest guys out there, and yeah, yeah. Like I said, he got me into video editing, and look where I am now.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you for sharing that. That's really nice. I
It's something I don't tell people too much.
again,
It makes me sad.
yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. I know that's pretty emotional. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's no, opening up like that. Thank you for that. And
It's no problem.
I'm very happy to hear, that you heard of us like so long ago. That does make me very happy. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this episode.
Yippee! Where's the confetti? Just
Well, thank you so much. I know this went a little bit like longer, but I mean,
it's cool.
yeah,
I love the time here.
if it goes that long, it's fine. But maybe if anyone has feedback, obviously we have the show name. It's called Solo Q.
Solo queue.
Gabby is gonna be working on the logo for me. I believe she said she wants to stream creating the logo, but she wanted
Mhm.
to wait for me to announce the title, so I have now done that. And there's my cat in the background making
Oh,
his
little one. Is that
cameo.
Cloud?
That's Cloud, yes. There he
Oh.
goes on the table. So I will have the logo and that in the future. So I know people are like, "Why are
Mhm.
you still using these friend code graphics?" I'm like, "It's okay. We're gonna get it.
It's a process,
It's coming."
guys.
I don't know if I said in the last episode, but like basically I wanted to just do this. I was like tired of sitting on this. It's like I need to stop. Like I'm coming up with excuses why not to do this. Just do it. Like this is stupid. Like I gotta wait for the graphics. I gotta wait for the logo. It's like nah. Like need like you were mentioning old game trailers. Like I need to go back to like my old game trailers days mentality. Like fuck it, do it. Like you
Just
believe in
go
it,
for it.
just do it. Like who like ask for forgiveness later.
Mhm.
Better ask for
Oh,
forgiveness than permission. And he is seeing my controllers
asking
on the
for
desk, and
forgiveness.
he's like, "Yeah," he's like, "Time to cause chaos." But yeah, thank you so much. I will definitely try and get you back on here when we
I
have.
would love it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It does mean a lot. Like I said, I don't do podcasts that much because I'm just like I'm just a don't look at me type person. I'm just chilling in
Oh,
the
no
background.
worries. I understand that. Yeah, not everyone is yeah, some people like, they just have different, preferences with that stuff and it's, always, different. But yeah, again, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you chat for all your great interactions and for chiming in and for looking up a few things for us when we ask. That is definitely an element of the show going forward I'd like to have is having like a little bit more of that interactive element so that
Mhm.
we could take some maybe some like questions we see in chat or you
That'll
have
be
some
cool.
like opinions I want to interject, maybe we could expand upon it down the line. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode of Solo Queue. I will let you know when the next episode is. We try and make these weekly, every weekend. Usually on Saturdays is when they're gonna try and be. So I will give
Mhm.
you that update when we have that episode ready to go. So thank you again, Tiffany. Thank you again, chat, and our listeners and viewers. Until next time, take it
Thank
easy.
you, Chad. Have a good one. Bye, guys. Bye, 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 bye.